can squish you. We're gonna make it a little cooler.
Why else would it be here?
Air suspension on this whole truck and trailer.
Truck and trailer?
This motor is smoked.
Runs like a dream, just no power.
I think like a 12-valve Cummins.
Oh, wow.
Man, I'm ready to get this back on the road. I just want to go around the neighborhood with the kids. I hear you're the guy when it comes to golf carts.
We make these things fast, make them loud, race them.
You race them.
Oh yeah, man, they're fast.
You get me excited on this. Ryan's telling me this thing could possibly do a wheelie.
Can't just have him walking away with some normal cart.
What?
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
How you doing?
What's up, man? What in the world do you guys have here?
Brought you a 1953 White with a 1951 Fruhoff tanker. The tanker yanker from St. Louis, Missouri.
Man, that is cool. This ain't something you see every day.
No, sir, it ain't.
You know, like I say, you never know it's going to roll through the gate. Prime example, today, a 1953 tanker truck. This is the type of truck that gets me excited. The thing looks good, looks like fresh paint, everything on it.
Yes,
right?
it is.
So what's in the tanker?
Nothing, it's just a promotional tanker. It used to haul gasoline back in its day.
We actually have 34 Peterbilt trucks, just like this color here, that we run in St. Louis, delivering fuel every day. So we take this thing to parades and stuff, and people love it. The truck and trailer combo gets a lot of attention, but we've convinced the owners to make it a little bit cooler.
So you just want it to look good, promote business.
Yeah.
And have fun.
Yeah.
It's a company vehicle in their second generation. I want to make it comfortable for the third generation to be able to go cruising.
And that's where you come into play,
All
Bill.
right. So what you guys got under the hood? Is that one of the upgrades we need to do?
It's a Whopper.
Let's check it out. Oh, there.
Yeah.
It's all original stock motor, 150 horsepower. Runs like it's got air brakes on it. Oh, you're going to come out at 80 years old dropping that thing around town.
What do you guys think about air suspension on this whole truck and trailer?
Truck and trailer?
It'd be like floating on a cloud.
Man, you guys wanted something to promote your business. To be able to just pull up somewhere and just drop it down a little bit,
That would
man,
be
that
so
would
sweet.
be right.
Who wouldn't like that?
Right. You know, we bagged a lot of things around here. You don't drive all this way just to, get some stacks put on the back or just an engine. But this whole combination of engine, wheels, tires, and bagging this truck, there won't be another one like this. Man, we've never worked on anything like this before. This gets me excited.
This is awesome. The owners know we're bringing it down here, but they have no idea what you're getting ready to do. It's going to be a surprise.
Man, that's cool. We're definitely going to surprise them.
Yeah.
Let's go make it official.
Appreciate it.
They got a badass old truck, but it's not up to today's standards. Not just anybody can hop in a vehicle like this and know how to shift gears, push in the clutch, do that, and steer. 25-year-olds, maybe even 30-year-olds these days can't even drive a standard. So, of course, make it cooler, but we're going to make it driver-friendly, have some air conditioning, have some power steering, and a lot of power under the hood. We've worked on big projects in the past, but nothing like this. With a this big, those fine little details that were this small on other projects are now this big. Every part and piece we put on here, you're going to see big time. This gets everybody excited. When you see cool stuff like this come in the shop, you know you're going to get to make it even cooler. That's what we're in business for.
Man, this thing's like a time capsule. I sure it's a handful to drive. Everything's made out of metal. This thing's hauled some stuff.
Hey, like the old tanker.
It's cool.
A lot of stuff we mess with you don't see every day. But this, I've never seen.
Man, it's clean. It's classic. But this motor is smoked.
Right? This is a trucking companies, they take it to parades and just promote business. A cool little toy for them, basically.
No doubt. It's unique.
But we're going to make it a little cooler.
Why else would it be here?
So, you know,
what you got in mind?
One of the first things we're going to do is take out this engine trans, replace it with the new diesel automatic transmission, tilt column, AC, you know, make it comfortable to drive. New axle, new wheels, new tires, stacks coming out the back.
Right on. That would be cool, man. That'd be a good look.
We definitely got some upgrades going on up here, right?
Yeah, just a few.
Check out the back.
Wow. I get paid by the hour.
Cool stuff, man.
Cutting it in half or what?
No. What you don't see is one of these with air suspension to be able to drop it. Yeah. You know, not sitting all the way flat on the ground, but just so it looks good rolling through the parade.
Cruising down the street like that. That's gonna be even nicer.
And comfortable. Mm-hmm. So we'll just cut front axle out, rear axle, and trailer axle. Smooth the rails, and we're just gonna totally start over. We'll build a 4-link on the rear, 4-link on the truck, electric brakes on the back, just like a modern trailer.
Yeah. Keep the retro look, but just do the modern suspension.
Yeah. When it rolls up, man, people are just gonna lose their mind. What we'll do is put the truck in one bay and the trailer in the body shop bay, so it's the only place it'll fit, right?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do this. We have to use one of our biggest bays to tear down this tanker. First things first, we gotta lift the cab off the chassis. Even though this truck's huge, it's the same process. Just being extra careful while you do it, because everything on here can squish you.
You know, it's pretty cool taking apart old trucks like this, because you get to see how far we've come. As far
Rubber in this at all, huh?
No, it was bolted down solid, man.
And they're really concerned about driver comfort back then, right?
Not even. So we got everything off the frame now, the cab's up. My only concerns I do have is how heavy this motor is. Fingers crossed, this old forklift right here is going to yank it on out. What we got going on back here? It's hitting on this bracket right here. It's good. Tone. Hard to believe this truck was driving 2 days ago. Here it is, bare frame now.
We got the tanker completely tore apart. It's down to frame rails. It's not a 18-wheeler, but it's still a ton of weight. So I'm gonna get the chipboard out, put it up against the frame, get a couple of measurements, design a rear hanger which holds the rear suspension to the frame. I got the hangers all laid out for the old tanker.
Oh, that big tanker that just came in?
Yeah. I want these to bolt in the factory hanger spot where the leaf springs used to be. They need to be super strong. So let's burn this out of 5/16 plate.
5/16. All right, got it. Bill wants it laid out, and I'm ready to cut it out. That template Bill gave me, I'm gonna lay it on top of here and just transfer the punches. That way I know the holes will be in the exact same spot. The die has a little small point at the very bottom of it, so all I do is just set it in there. Alrighty.
We just got our saddles back. Everything looks real nice on them. Did a good job. Go ahead and bolt these on. Now that I got the saddles on, we can go ahead and continue with the rear suspension.
As good as this tanker truck when I'm 70. However, not everything looks so good. These axles, they're not gonna work.
What you got here, man?
So this morning I went off to the junkyard, found an old truck that robbed the axle out. Yeah, nice. Exactly what we needed. Check it out. We got the single speed axle with hydraulic disc brakes, this thing is going to stop good. You know, anybody can get in and drive and not have to worry about the air brakes or anything like that.
Man, that's nice. That's definitely what we needed right there for this build.
So I think what we'll do is just slide the bed back, tilt it down so the tire's barely touching the ground. We'll cut the U-bolts.
Okay.
Pick it right back up. I'll go drop this off so it's not in our way.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to get the torch, man, get everything ready.
Yeah. I'll slide the bed back.
All right.
Cut the brake hose bracket. And just cut the brake line back about a foot, like where the crossing member. We need off this chassis, I mean, we got the rear axle, rear drive shaft to hook up to this rear end. We even got some emergency brake parts. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave this loaded up, take it right back to the scrap yard, be out of our way. We only need to replace the axle because the old chassis on the tanker is in good shape. Not that much more. 1, 2. Just as equally important to the hangers were our brackets on the rear end. That's where all the power from the ground transfers to the frame itself. Good thing I got my good welder right here.
Welding something like this, it's really important. There's going to be a lot of weight. You want to make sure everything's prepped good. You have good penetration when you have good prep. Penetration is the next thing. You want to make sure your machine's turned up high enough. You're going to penetrate both pieces of metal. You got good form. You're comfortable. ABC of welding, always be comfortable. When you're comfortable, you're going to weld better.
One of the things I love about the custom game is just the scale of some of our builds. It can change so radically from build to build. On one hand, you got just this massive thing. But then you can go completely to the other end of the spectrum. And I've had this golf cart in my garage for quite some time. Me and the kids will decorate it for Halloween. Make it in kind of like a hayride. The last hayride went haywire. I got about a half a mile around the house and it totally quits. Man, I'm ready to get this back on the road.
I bet you are.
Had a couple people work on it over the last year and a half. No luck. Man, appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
See you later.
So a friend of mine was telling me about this golf cart guy, Ryan. Not only gets them running, but he does some crazy stuff to them too. Kind of like we do with cars, he does with golf carts. I hear you're the guy I need to see when it comes to golf carts. That's what they say. Love cruising around the neighborhood with my kids, my wife, but man, it's just been sitting in the corner of my garage for over a year now. Just shot. Something's going on with it, and I'm just super tied up at my shop right now. Oh, I bet. I'd love to just give it to you, and you get it running for me, man.
Well, we can definitely get you fixed up. You brought it to the right place. I'm one of the 3 owners of Golf Carts Modified. Been doing golf carts for about 7 or 8 years now. Started out as a hobby, turned into a business. Say more, I mean, everybody drives them on the street, takes them to the beach, they go camping. I don't even own a set of golf clubs. I got 9 golf carts and no clubs. And we make these things fast, make them loud, race them.
You race them?
Oh yeah, man, they're fast, especially electric ones. I mean, we got one electric one that'll do 70 miles an hour. I mean, it gets a little sketchy at 70. Yeah. That car belongs to a 13-year-old girl, runs 40 miles an hour, and will pop a 3-foot wheelie for about 60 yards.
Now you're talking, man. Ryan's telling me this thing could possibly do a wheelie and haul ass. You know, I'm hearing all this, and this is something I'm really interested in. You get me excited on this, man. I was just coming here just to get it going, but you can do something like that with this.
We do what you do, just on a smaller scale. You want to go crazy? We'll go crazy. Let's check out what you got, man. 36-volt series cart. Oldie but a goodie. I mean, we definitely upgrade this. Bill has pretty common golf cart. He's got an E-Z-GO TXT. We like working on a TXT because they have a steel chassis. They're much easier to customize. You can do a lot more with them. And nowadays with powder coating, you can make them last just as long as any aluminum frame cart. What we can do is we can get rid of all these heavy lead acid batteries, go back in with a lithium, jump voltage. We can go all the way from 48 all the way up to 72, cut half the weight, and add double the power.
Dang, and that's what makes you do a wheelie or what?
That's step 1. You also got to add a motor and controller. If you want to roll fat, AC stuff is the way to go now. It's instant torque. It's the most efficient system you can buy. Think about your big electric cars. All of that stuff's AC. You're pretty much building a miniature electric car.
I love it, man. I love it.
You know, Bill, if we're going to be into it, man, we probably should upgrade that suspension. You don't want to be coming down on that thing after a 3-foot wheelie. We can add some coilovers to it, put a long travel on it, make it really ride nice.
Man, Ron, I'm usually the one selling suspension, so I definitely know what you're talking about. We gotta have that.
Yes, sir. You know, and if we're going to do that and make it look cool, might as well go ahead and throw on a new set of wheels and tires and really just change the whole look of the car. They're not bad, but if we're going to go all out, we might as well go all out.
Yeah, so much for just dropping it off and getting it fixed, huh?
Oh, no, we're going to fix it. It's getting fixed. This is going to get upgraded a little bit.
All right.
This thing's been through some better days.
You know, I came in looking for not even a little upgrade, just get it running right, make it reliable.
It's been in several places. Looks like he's had some fun with it.
I just want to go around the neighborhood with the kids. But after talking to Ryan, him, you know, kind of sell me on a couple things.
Just pick that bad boy up.
I'm really getting excited about going all in on this golf cart.
And we will be keeping that part. Old school lead acid. A big thing with lead acid batteries, they have to be constantly filled with water. And if you live somewhere in the south like we do, these things are always evaporating water. These batteries weigh 59 pounds a piece, so we're shaving 200 pounds out of the cart. I'm not gonna have to go to the gym today. Yeah, that one's seen some better days. We're pretty much down to bare metal. The only thing left to do is remove the rear axle and the front axle and get it ready for powder coat. Boom!
That is 7 7/8. We got the 4-link done on the 53 tanker. Took off all the old leaf springs and we're replacing it with a big air spring. You can't ride on anything better than air. What we're going to do is start off making our upper bag mount, and then once that's located, we can put our lower bag mounts in place right up to it. So it look pretty center from your angle back behind me?
Yes, sir.
Center of our bag mount right there. On this particular suspension, we're going to put the big airbag up on top. We've been doing air suspension since 1994. Each vehicle you learn from, so this is going to be the latest and the greatest. With all that extra weight that's going to be on the back, we just put a piece of 2x2 across on the inside of the frame that holds the weight, keeps it straight. We're using this piece of 2x3 box tubing just to simulate the bag fully compressed. So when all the air is out, that's how big the bag is. It's 3 inches. It's pretty nice. So we got our simulated bag compressed here, our lower bag mount. So we're just going to make the brackets from the bag mount to the axle. Push the back. Yeah. That's hard. Yes, sir. Oh. We're looking good. Hangers are on. 4 links on. Now we got the bag mounts all mocked up. My man Jamie's gonna put some weld on it. Then we'll let it down, move down to the Panhard bar shock mounts, and the rear suspension's wrapped. Hey, one little last puzzle piece of our rear suspension is the Panhard bar. Since we don't have leaf springs anymore, we have a 4-link. So the Panhard bar is that solid point from the frame down to the axle and locates everything nice and center and keeps it really, really strong for cornering.
Okay, last piece of the puzzle right here. Ta-da!
Let's go up and down real quick and we'll check it out. Man, Jaime, it's looking good. I don't foresee any issues with this.
Yeah, man, this suspension's definitely going to be a lot better than those leaf springs. Handle, work, and have a good ride.
Definitely. On a really big truck like this tanker, the airbags are a no-brainer. It just gives you a way better ride. However, on my golf cart, it's an entirely different setup. Because this golf cart's going to be really fast and able to do wheelies, we're going to go with coilovers in the front. So when it comes down from the wheelie, it absorbs all that weight and that bounce.
You want to spin it around?
Ryan's bringing his team down from the East Coast to help put it all together.
We got a call from Ryan or Bill at Extensive. You know, my first immediate response was that this is fake, like someone has called you messing with you. Bill did not just cold call us and to talk about a golf cart.
Once we found out that the build was a go, we laid out a game plan to make this trip to Houston.
20 hours later, 2 truck breakdowns. We're in Houston. We're ready to start working on this golf cart.
We just got the frame back for powder coating. First things we're going to tackle is the front and rear suspension. One of us will be working in the back, one of us will be working up front. That way we can get everything going from the ground up. Building a golf cart is not much different than building a car. You want to start off with a good frame. You got to get your suspension set right and make sure that you have a good stance. You always want to make sure everything's safe before you take off on these things.
We're about to assemble this long travel suspension for the front end. It's just going to make the car ride better, have better articulation on the suspension. This build's a big deal to us, and we're putting a lot of effort into it because when you get a call from a client like Bill, I mean, he's a legend. It's an honor to get the opportunity to build something for him. I know he wants the best of the best, and that's what we're going to give him.
This car comes factory with leaf springs and a solid axle across the front. So when you swap over to a long travel, it gives you 8 inches of adjustability for it gives you more rebound. For this particular car, we're going to go with a 70-volt lithium battery. It's going to give this car incredible torque, so it will lift the wheels off the ground. So these coilovers will help with the rebound as the cart comes back to the ground. This just all around is a much nicer design than the original equipment that came on the cart.
So similar to a truck, we're going to do the rear lift on this. We're going to use a 6-inch lift block in the back. With a heavy-duty spring, this is going to give us clearance. That way we can shove those massive tires up underneath the body.
You know, over the years, Extensive's done our share of engine swaps. The one thing that we haven't done yet is go electric. So Ryan's saying the lithium setup that we're going with is going to be putting a ton of torque to those rear wheels. This cart's going to be able to wheelie. You know, I can't wait to see this.
Let's talk about the muscle in this cart. We're going to be installing a 5 kilowatt AC motor and controller. It's 75 pounds of muscle. So this is a 3-phase electric motor. These are way more efficient than a DC. They actually get a lot better range too, especially paired with a lithium battery. Most golf carts have 3 bolts holding the motor on. Because this one makes so much torque, we're going to be adding 6 volts to this total. That way we make sure we don't snap anything off when Bill goes to pop a wheelie in this.
All right, so for this build, it started out with 36 volts of lead acid batteries, which is very old school. We decided to go to a lithium battery setup, and we chose the 70.4 volt eco battery. One huge advantage to run a lithium setup is weight. Lead acid batteries are roughly 50 pounds a piece. This battery is about 125 pounds total. That is a huge advantage, and then you're almost doubling your voltage. So way less weight, way more power.
So you ready to grab that big boy?
Yep. Bigger is better.
You are in Texas.
It's secure.
Well, now that we got the battery all installed, we get everything wired up. One of the main reasons we build cables is because we can custom create links for everybody. That way we can shorten on resistance and heat. Cables are all your power to your motor and controller. If you don't have good cables, might as well not have anything at all. So the very first thing we're going to be hooking up is our small cable. This is going to be running from our solenoid output over to the controller. And the very next thing we're going to do is start running motor wires.
All right, we got the power hooked up, grounds hooked up.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to hook this one up, and then we will see if we are completely wired and ready for juice. All right, I'm powering it on. Let me do this. If it beeps, we're good. All right, we got power.
We're making an independent front suspension and a 4-link rear suspension on that 53 tanker truck. You know, we got the rear all mocked up. Now it's time to get on to the front. So we got our cross member established, the height that it needs to be. We got our wheel tire all mocked up. Look at that, boy! All we're gonna do is come from pushing to the ball joint, and there's our mocked up flow control arms. That's that. Man, we got a long, good stuff. You know, we got everything mocked up. This is exactly the size that it needs to be for everything to play nice. So we need to get going on building the lower arm. We need to cut some pipe.
All right, we're going with the 1-inch Schedule 80, or?
Man, I'm thinking 1.25 inches. We're gonna make it all out of 1.25 inches, Schedule 80. So everything's nice and strong.
Ooh, first time on the machine. I'm so excited.
Real advantage with this that the arm is really, really long in this setup, so we have plenty of room for a big airbag to handle all that weight. All right, we got our lower control arm on, we got our spindle in place, we got our frame nice and level, we got our measurement from the upper ball joint all the way to where it needs to land on the frame. So I'm going to take that measurement and just make an upper control arm. That's it, man. Forward M's. I love jobs like this. This is what, but it makes it fun. You know, when jobs like this come about, that's not repetitious. Yeah. That, you know, it has a set goal and there's no specific way to get there. That's what I love doing. One down. This is going to locate the top part of the spindle so it holds everything in place. Yeah. Go down and up a couple times. Let's see what it's looking like. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. You know, that nice, perfect alignment. All the way up and all the way down. I can't stand when people drop the air out of the suspension and the wheels go, yeah, can't have that. No. It takes time to make that perfect.
Definitely.
You know, as a fabricator, I'm pretty much known as a control freak. I try to keep my eye on everything all of the time. Ryan, what's happening, man?
I'm just sitting here working on your car.
That's just the same when things aren't at the shop.
Got the new powder-coated long travel kit on. Everything's installed. Coming together real nicely.
Nice, man. That gets me excited. I'm ready to do some wheelies in it.
Man, I can't wait to see y'all do some wheelies. I think it's going to really surprise you.
Yeah.
Hey, while I have you on the phone here, let's talk about the body, man. This one that you have is nice, but it's a little outdated. I was thinking maybe we could go with a new store body. This is going to give this car a much more edgy look. It's street legal, high beam, low beam headlights.
Ryan, man, come on. It's just a golf cart.
It's never just a car, man. This is a representation of yourself. You can't just give you a stock looking golf cart. You know what's better than doing wheelies? Looking good while you're doing wheelies.
I can't really disagree with that, can I?
While we're talking about that, though, if we could do the body, we should probably go ahead and put a custom interior in this. Full custom dash, maybe throw in some lighting, custom seats, really take this thing next level.
I see your point. You know, I've done my share of pushing the customers to go a little bit bigger on their builds. If we're going to do the new body, man, we might as well, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
And man, once you're on the other side of it, you know, it's kind of hard to say no. Go ahead and get me hooked up on it then, man. I'm anxious to see what you guys can do.
Yes, sir. We're on it.
All right. Talk to you later. Man, he got me on that one. Get this template for the bag mount real quick so Jessica keeps making them. You know, we always try to measure twice, cut once. That's even more true with the size of everything on this old tanker, not to mention the price of metal these days. We're just wrapping up the front suspension now. I love this, the instant gratification of just things coming together quick. The next step's going to be placing our airbag. So we got our upper bag mounts. We got our 3-inch spacers simulating a compressed bag. We got our suspension bottom totally out. So this is where the suspension needs to be when there's no air in it. So all we need to do, put the bag mount in place, weld it in place with a couple of gussets, bag mounts a wrap. So we're on the last part of our front suspension, shock. What I'm doing right now is making the upper shock mounts. It's gonna be a 3-piece deal. 1 piece with my shock's gonna go through. Then I'm gonna have 2 gussets on each side. Once it's boxed in, it's gonna be there forever. Boom. I'm just transferring this pattern to my flat bar. Once I get these cut out, I'll be able to assemble the upper shock mount. I'm gonna go ahead and sand it, give it that nice slick look, and I'll clean it up some, just go that extra little bit to make it look nice. You can see the before and after. This is fine. Most people would, just let it be. Not here. We got an extra little step, get everything nice, clean, cool looking. Anybody can do this. Not everybody thinks about doing this. Gotta go up there. It's the same to me. Yeah, no. We gotta take that like power room. Alright, we gotta take the tires off. Yeah. Chin on the 53 tanker. We're ready to drop in that big old diesel engine. Just trying to be easy across that little lip right there because we don't got nothing to balance it. This 12 valve is a lot bigger than that inline 6 the old truck rolled in with. So there's not much room to maneuver, even on a truck this size. We're good right there, Ryan. That motor and transmission is like 5 foot long. No, I think it's even longer than 5 feet. Alright, come on in. That's the longest combo ever put it in. Good. Stop. On the builds that are physically as big as this thing, every step is just that much more consequential. But you don't want to have that all in a bind right there. Yeah, we're going to have to do a little trimming. Hey, you got to do what you got to do, right? We need to get this big old engine mounted, modified, and running. Alright. Bring it down a little bit. There's still a lot of fabrication, including the custom stacks, an interior, and audio. And man, we hadn't even touched that trailer yet. It's level? Level. Heck yeah. Alright. It's a long road, but it's going to be worth it. It looks really good right there. It does look good. It looks right. One of the cool things about custom is that anything can be custom. The team is ready to install the new body kit. Fits like a glove. Nice and flush. Looks good. It's definitely gonna be mean. All right, give me a hand with this. This is not a production dash. This is a one-off dash. It's wrapped in the exact same material as his seats are. This is gonna look really good once it's wired and everything is lit up. Is it bad that I'm jealous? I don't even have a dash that clean. You know, it's real cool to get the big builds in, you know, the ones that just command your attention. When you pull up somewhere in just a massive vehicle, everybody is looking to see what the heck is going on. Who's pulling up in here in that big old truck? Every vehicle's different in the design process, you know, whatever the scale is. You attack each and every project individually, but everything about a big build. It's just bigger. You got to really watch what's going on. All the wrenches are bigger. All the nuts and bolts are bigger. You know, the wheels and tires are bigger. Just everything is not only bigger, but it's heavier also. You know, those are the builds that I just love the most because be different. To have that personality come out, to have that coolness factor magnified on a huge scale. We're transforming those from something that's really nothing into something that's show-stopping. When you're doing an extra large build, that's just extra ways to make it extra cool. You know, a few weeks ago, my golf cart wouldn't even run. But it's come a long way. Everything is coming together. The lithium batteries, a new bigger motor, seating, handmade dash, lighting, audio, and a custom body kit. And today's a big day. Ryan's gonna drop it off at my house.
When Bill brought this cart in, it was old, it was outdated, it was underpowered. We changed all that. It's been a lot of work, it's been a lot of fun, lots of hours, but I'm really excited. This cart has turned out awesome. Hopefully when he comes out and sees this, he'll be blown away.
Ryan called me, told me to come outside, and then I see it doing a wheelie. What? Man! I can't believe it did that. Man, that is cool. Man! That looks so good. What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
That thing looks beautiful. Is that the same one, right?
That's the same car, man.
Everywhere I look, there's something brand new on it. I can't believe it's got that much power to... You in it doing a wheelie?
That's a lot of weight to go up in the air, baby.
Man, I tell you what, this gets me excited. A golf cart doing a wheelie, that ain't something you see every day. And then just the total transformation of, you know, new body, new wheels, tires, the lift, it looks good. This thing is cool, man.
Man, I'm glad you like it.
I like every bit of it. Tell me, what'd you do to this?
Man, what did we not do to this? We took this thing down to the frame. It's all brand new. Had everything powder coated. Started with new suspension.
Yeah.
Double AR with coilover. It's going to give it a much softer ride.
Yeah.
Especially when it's coming up in the air and slamming down. You don't want to be sitting on spindles, man.
You know, I definitely wasn't expecting that. Have long travel with coilovers on the front of my golf cart. Love the stance of, man, the wheel track and everything. Just the way
On 23s, we decided to go ahead and bump it up and get you a little higher, put some 25s on it. We did space the wheels out about 2 inches with that lift. We also widened the back, make it a little bit more stable. It's going to ride a little bit better, have a little bit more tire on the ground. This is definitely going to be the meanest one in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
This is the new storm body. This is the gunmetal metallic. We wanted something that was going to pop against the aluminum powder coat that we did on the suspension and frame.
I love the color of it.
This has a full street legal kit in it. You got running lights, turn signals, horn, hazard light. This can make you street legal in Texas so that y'all can ride this on the street.
Man, the kids are going to love this one. You know, I didn't know how bad my old golf cart was looking, but now the new body's on it, it looks like it just rolled off the assembly line. Man!
Well, it had to look just as good on the inside as the outside.
This is cool, man.
We got you a brand new set of FS2 seats. These are super comfortable. We went ahead and had them bolstered. That way it'll hold you in place when you're popping wheelies. We had to transition down to the floor. Got you a new floor mat. And then that way we can come back up into the custom-made dash. You're the only one on the planet that has that dash.
So this ain't something you buy?
No, sir. That is custom-made. Nobody else is going to have that. That's a light, man. Hey, if you're riding at night, you got to be able to see, bro.
Ooh, that looks good.
Hey, not very many golf carts have interior lights, so that's pretty
That
cool.
looks good, man. I see. Tell me what's underneath here.
This is where the magic happens, bro. That is a big 70-volt, 105-amp-hour battery. That is not your normal lead acid. We cut half the weight of the old batteries out and doubled the power.
Man!
This is one big contained lithium kit. This is what's going to put the power down to the new motor and controller. This thing puts down massive amounts of torque and produces speeds up to 30 miles an hour with normal batteries, but with Bill's battery, we'll achieve speeds up to 50.
Man, I'm blown away, Ryan. Man, it looks cool. Normally, I get to give a customer their car back. I'm not used to, you know, coming outside and really getting excited like this. Man, you guys kill it on it, man. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, man. I hope y'all enjoy it.
Definitely. Man, I'm gonna go get the kids, man. They gotta come see this.
Well, y'all have fun.
Appreciate it. My cart was just sitting in my garage for the last couple of years, just broke down.
Whoa, is this the old golf cart?
Same one. You believe that?
Can we go for a ride?
Let's go. I'm glad I was able to take it to Ryan. Ready?
Squeeze.
And him just transforming this whole cart. Hey, Golf Carts Modified, they just came in, stepped up, and just built me a hell of a cart. Ride's good, huh? All right, Cleve, come on. Come on, Cleve. Me and the family's and a lot of good times in this cart. About time we get our golf cart back, huh? We're finally ready to start the tanker itself.
They didn't say this is empty, right?
This your rolls, huh?
This is it. I want you to tear everything out of this car and make it perfect.
Man, we got some work ahead of us.
It's a little more of a job than we anticipated, but ain't nothing we can't handle. Classic look, new style.
We got one other thing to show you.
Whoa, look at that!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Man, we got a lot of stuff doing that tanker, man. Got a lot more to go. I wish John would come in so we could talk about it.
You rang?
Man, just to get a buzzer back there. A John buzzer.
All right, what do we got to do?
Man, we got a lot of work done on the semi so far. We got all the air suspension on there, you know, the independent front suspension, big 4-link in the back, the control arms, we got the shocks, got all that handled. We dropped the engine in the truck, got the engine mounted. We had to cut the firewall, make it fit, rebuild the firewall. Got the stacks on it, it's all stacked up.
Nice. I saw it sit in the shop the other day. That thing's looking mean.
Yes. You know, we finished the steering, got it off, got it powder coated, painted engine. But we still got a long way to go.
All right, what we got?
The console needs to be built, so we're gonna need some material for that.
New carpet, headliner, seats, fresh it all up.
Yeah,
do everything
man.
to it.
Let me know what materials you want, the colors. I get that all ordered out.
All right.
You know, the front bumper, we gotta get that all mocked up, so we're gonna need some steel for that. The truck's looking good. We still got a big job out there on that tanker, right?
Yeah.
You know, the old air brakes, the old springs in it, definitely not gonna work. We're gonna cut all that out. Start with a brand new 10,000-pound trailer axle with electric brakes on it. So anybody can get in that truck and drive it and not have to worry about sliding the truck sideways, right? Brand new 4-link, huge 4-link, big bag, so it'll handle good, ride good.
A lot of airline coming for that.
Man, there's a ton of airline.
That thing with big stacks laid out on air, just
Big
look,
wheels.
everything about it.
Man, they're gonna be blown away.
It's going to represent their company, our company. They'll look good
Yep.
riding in the parades.
You ready to get it? I'm ready.
I've been ready.
I'm ready.
Let's do this.
All right.
All right, man. I'm gonna get it. Oh, yeah.
How many times have we do that?
I think this is the oldest tool in the shop. It looked like this when I was a kid. You know, after all the custom parts we made for this tanker, we can't just be having that factory bumper. This is the bumper that came on the tanker. It just takes away from the whole design of the whole truck. So I had Jesse burn me some plate, 12-inch by 7 foot, and we're gonna roll it just a little bit to give that nice curvature to the front of the truck. Man, I think we're good with that. What we'll do is transfer this onto a plate, and that'll be the bottom of it. So that's gonna hold everything nice and straight. Plasma? It takes a very steady hit. You want me to show you a little trick? See that right there? Yeah. Drag your hand now. That's super slick. But piece we rolled is not perfectly consistent. So we just cut one side, flip the perfect template.
Ta-da! There you have it. Here's our nice radius. It's the same on both sides. Still got everything ground down and cleaned up. It's going to be a nice, clean surface well tube. Okay, so you can see the piece I just got done cutting and cleaning, added it to the piece that Bill and I rolled. You can kind of start to see already it's starting to shape up like a front bumper. That's pretty good.
We're gonna make that work. One of the last steps for the front bumper is capping the top. I want it to fit the curvature of the body and around the grill, so it looks like it was made that way. And right now I'm just making the template out of chipboard so we can transfer it over to our 3/16 thick metal. All right, we have to fine tune it once it's metal, you know what I mean?
Before we cut our 3/16 top plate for the bumper, we're gonna go ahead and make a template out of sheet metal. It's more rigid. It's gonna give us a better placement for exact marks we need to cut so we can get corner to corner and get it tight in those fenders.
Let's cut it this way a little bit. It's a lot easier to modify the 20 gauge. There's a perfect template out of the 20 gauge, so now I'm going to trace it out on the 3/16, so we only have to do that one time. About to do a little test fit, which we already did with the templates. We know it's going to fit, so we know it's going to look good, so we're about to tack this piece in. It's fitting the body perfectly. We've got that perfect 1/4 inch gap all the way around. Our next step is chop the sides, cap them in, do the final welding, sanding, ready to paint.
Good job, buddy. Gold star of the week. Come on in a little bit, right there.
Ooh! Hey, it ain't quite as heavy as a 40-foot, but it's got some weight to it. You know, while we're finishing the cab, we're finally ready to start the biggest part of this project, the tanker itself. Man, trying to get this big old thing in there, for some reason, somebody thought it was a good idea to put a lift right outside that door. We're getting it in that shop one way or another.
We're gonna watch it roll over.
I hear you.
All right, make sure don't buckle this.
They're trying to
Buckle
scoot
the
it?
stand. What do we put it on the dolly?
Push it my way, too.
I am.
All right, hold up. Make sure you got an eye on this thing. If it starts going, get out the way.
Just let it fall.
Here we go. It's got to stay straight now. Hey, hold up.
How far we got?
Man, we got 6 inches until it hits that blue box on the top of the roof.
Is it in the hole?
I need to go back just a little bit.
Here you go.
Yeah, that's it.
Scare you?
Yeah, I'm nervous around you.
Got it. Good.
Come on, fix it. Come down the ramp.
Nothing behind me? Might have a little slide going on.
It might take them.
There it goes. It's off the ramp.
Coming. Right there. That's it.
Yeah, don't remind you of the barbecue pit truck.
It does.
That was a close one. Always like the excitement around here.
It's not bad.
You know, before we can make the air suspension on this 51 tanker trailer with this heavy-duty 4-link setup, I asked Ryan to tear out all the old suspension first.
We just got the rear end cut out of the trailer. Thank you, sir. I'm gonna get all these brackets off the frame.
Oh, yes, it keeps right off.
Just get it ready to start building my hangers and doing some suspension work.
Hey, they did say this is empty, right?
Damn, that's gonna be torqued off.
That sucks. They put a lot of weld on there.
I found a split where the frame cracked, and that's why they have all these scab plates here. So I'm just gonna take it completely out and start fresh. The scab plate is just used to join 2 pieces of metal together. So we decided to cut it out, put brand new rails in there. By doing that, it ensures 100% certainty that this thing is going to be perfectly sound whenever it gets on the road. So I'm using these plates to just keep this frame rail straight with this rail. That way when I weld it and grind it, it just looks like one solid piece. Got my rails tacked in, and now I'm just gonna go cut my cross members, throw them in there, put a little weld on them, and go grab that axle out there. So as old rusty rails are out of the picture, it looked like crap, and it's not really in our best judgment to let something like that leave. When it comes to doing patchwork, it's way better to take the time and do it right and ensure ourselves that's not going to come back and we're not going to tell them.
We're ready to build the air suspension on this 53 tanker trailer, starting with the heavy-duty links.
All right, so we got our 4-link brackets made up. We'll get some good hard measurements. Get some tabs tacked onto the rear end. As of right now, it looks pretty good. We're 4.5. By mocking up the link arms, I'll be able to replicate the ones for the other side. Now that we got it to this point, all we gotta do is add some tacks and then we'll transfer it to the truck. Throw that there for right now. Getting jiggy with it. I like to put this washer on the inside there before I put my Heim on. That way, after it gets painted or powder coated, it still fits in there without having to wedge it in there and chip all your powder coat off. I don't even remember where I learned that at. That's where I need to be. 4.5.
Fred.
Bill, pleasure meeting you.
Hey, nice to meet you. This your Rolls, huh?
This is it, 1964 Rolls Royce.
Man, it's a beautiful car. I mean, the body style is just iconic. I mean, when you see that come around the corner, you know, hey, that's a Rolls. So why a 64 Rolls?
Well, I owned a 64 Rolls Royce before, had to sell it to keep my business going, and I always promised myself when I made it, I'm going to buy another 64, and there's only one guy I wanted to do the job, and that's you.
Man, I appreciate that. You know, you can see a couple little issues with it. You know, is that what you come in for, is just paint?
Ground up restoration. I want you to tear everything out of this car and make it perfect.
So, Fred, you want us to take this handmade car and even make it a little more handmade?
It'll be Bill handmade car.
All right.
I know you can make this drive and run like a new Rolls.
We built a lot of vehicles over the years, but this is the first time we've ever built a Rolls. You know, these things were classy and fast for the times, with a 6-liter V8 giving it 220 horsepower. Any Rolls is a hand-built car, but when it comes to totally tearing it apart, we're going to have to hand-make a lot of parts to make this project work. You know, one of the first to have you riding on the air, to have it comfortable, you know, like a new one.
Yes.
It's not going to sit all the way down on the ground. It would just take away from this iconic body style. You know, the wheels and tires, you have to pick the right one for this car.
I'm leaving all of that up to you.
You know, I see a couple things concerning, you know, bodywork popping up on a couple spots. Probably need to blast it and really see what we're working with.
There's no question that you're going to have to do bodywork on.
You know, just looking at this car, it's a 1964, and it's definitely showing its age. You know, the bodywork's popping up. You can tell it's going to need a lot of metal work. What are you thinking as far as paint colors?
I like that new Porsche blue where the silver is.
So you want a two-tone?
I want a two-tone. The two-tone's important on this car because Rolls-Royce always was two-tone back in those days. They made a few all-white ones, but the two-tone made the body style stand out.
What you got under the hood? What you working with under there?
Well, I think it's still the stock 64 Rolls motor.
Oh, man. It's a little rough under here. Fred, you got a boat?
No.
We got a boat anchor. You know, putting a big rumbling engine in here definitely isn't the way to go. It would take away from this iconic car.
I'm going to leave the motor up to you, Bill. You prove what you think is best for me to be
definitely in with some new interior on something like this is really important. So what you got going on in here? Man, right-hand drive, huh?
Got to switch that over immediately.
Left-hand drive. It looks like the dash is, you know, mirrored, so I don't think it'd be much trouble to be able to do that.
You know, what's iconic about a Rolls is the woodwork in it. And you see the seat back wood trays. That was the thing to have.
It looks like the wood's in good shape, but as far as like the rest of it, I don't think there's no saving it. Right?
I agree with you.
You know, the interior is like half of this job. It's a big car with a lot of interior, and a lot of details are gonna have to go in this. I mean, you always compare to a Rolls interior. This is actually a Rolls interior.
And a Rolls is a Rolls is a Rolls.
Yeah. Everything else in here, 100% brand new. You know, new seats, carpet, door panels, get rid of the rag top, maybe even putting the new Starry Light headliner in for the new Rolls.
That'd be great.
Basically have that new Rolls feel in this 64.
That's why I'm here. I've built a lot of cars in my life. I want this one to be the masterpiece.
Man, we'll definitely get you hooked up with that.
Can't wait to sit in the back seat of this car and have somebody cruise me along.
There you go. Well, let's go make it official.
Okay.
You know, I can totally relate to having to sell a vehicle to make payroll or buy that next part of your business, you know, whatever the case may be. I've been in that same boat, but Fred's new Rolls, he ain't getting rid of that. He made it. Of course, I say this quite a bit, but this is a big challenge. We don't know what's underneath all that paint and bodywork that's there. We're going to take it apart, blast it. Surprise, we'll see what comes in. But one of the biggest challenges is in the interior. Making this car look like and feel like, smell like a brand new Rolls, that's coming with it on that. You know, Rolls has always been setting the standards for the rest of the car industry. You know, it's always been one off, one at a time, hand-built parts and pieces. It's made with pride and just made with that passion. You know, that's exactly what we're going to do here. Hand make every part and piece with pride also.
What, are you waiting for some of that fancy mustard or what?
Right. Looking to see if I see anything good in here.
Looks pretty rough.
Man, we got some work ahead of us. Look at 2022.
Classic look, new style.
We're going to touch on every point of this car. We got a little bit of wood in the interior.
Yeah.
Everything else, you're going to get.
I got some parts.
Yeah. A lot of parts to be looking at. I mean, seats, door panels, dash, carpet, headliner. We're going to weld up the rag top. Everything.
And we're going to add the new technology in it too?
Absolutely. Anything that's cool, we want to put in here. It's right-hand drive just because that's the car he found. But he does want it left-hand drive.
Well, if I own this car, I wouldn't be driving. I'd be sitting right here.
Right.
This is where I'd be sitting back, enjoying a nice cocktail being driven around.
Well, he wants to look at the guy driving on the left-hand side. You know, finding the right wheels and tires.
The vintage, but the newer?
Absolutely. This isn't just something you call up the local parts house and tell them to deliver it.
Well, I'm going to have to try and get some contacts over the seas and see what we can find on that.
I got faith in you.
So does my mom. As far as the suspension goes, are we air riding down to the ground? What are you going to do to this?
No, we're not trying to get it all the way on the ground or anything like that. It will have some adjustability, but the main thing is ride quality. You want it to ride on a silver cloud, right?
Yeah. And then as far as the paint goes, are you doing a two-tone or are you going to say single?
Man, I think we'll have to do two-tone in this. I mean, this body style, it's made.
Yeah, from factory. Do we need to find somebody that maybe come in and take care of that for us?
Man, for sure. Really want the best of the best in here. You know, under the hood, we don't want something really loud and obnoxious.
So we're staying away from the superchargers?
Not for this project. He ain't trying to burn the tires off. He wants something quiet, but still has a lot of power.
Yeah, we're going to need a lot of power for this big boat.
Most definitely. We're about to see how good the new parts guy is on this one.
Well, I wasn't born when this was made, so we're definitely going to have to see what's out there. So I'll get with John. We'll put a game plan together. I'll find what I can find, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good, man. I'm ready to get at it.
Let's do it. I'll call your driver.
No matter how classy this Rolls once was, most of that class was from long ago. So we need to tear it all down before we can build it back up again. You know, from my experience, the more handmade a vehicle is, the way more work it is to tear it down.
Guess what? I am going to touch everything, so... Guess first thing is we'll figure out how this seat comes out. They're hand-built, so who knows how the hands built them. Stuck over here. Bolt right there, and I can't get it done. I ain't even got the first piece on this dang thing yet. was excited, but now I hate it. Guess what? The trunk smells just as bad as the inside of the car. Still no room for activities. All the trim of the car is made of wood, and it's neat to look back and see all the effort that went into these things. This window trim is one solid piece of wood. This is probably one of the most impressive pieces that I've seen in the car so far. We may need that for later purposes. Don't let there be anything alive in here. We'll be good. Kid gloves still need to be used somewhat. I don't want to just go tearing into it and tear everything apart. I want to make sure I get this thing nice and safe so they can get the cutting on it.
Alright, so John pulled all the interior out of this car. And I've been summoned to separate it, tear it down the rest of the way. So that's what we're gonna do. Dude, this is gonna take a year. And technology's come a long way. That emergency it yanks on there and puts tension on this, and then it pulls that this way, and that arm goes that way, and that arm goes that way. I'm serious, I'm not making that up. Pretty cool standing underneath these old cars and seeing how far we've come. So cool that we're gonna do away with it completely and never look at it ever again. It's cool, but we'll start fresh, clean slate, and make our own stuff and see if maybe we might be able to engineer something that's cool as this. This big old grill, the emblem, you see all that, you just know you're in the money. Well, not this one. I mean, this one's pretty janky, but we're gonna make it nice again. Look at that. Been on there for 97 years.
Now that we have the body off the frame, we're going to send it out to Media Blast. Now it's time to find out exactly how much work we got in front of us. At the same time, Ryan's finishing up the suspension on the 51 tanker. John's going to get
the center console. We've got to have room for our shifter. We'll make a boot for that. We've got an air ride control for the truck. A couple of cup holders because got to have some place to put your drink when you're riding around. So what I did is I just put a stop in here so I can set this in the truck and I don't have to worry about these things popping up, and it'll keep the same height so that when the console is done, these will still fit in there. Basically, just going to take these things, carry them over to the truck, start placing it around, figure out how we're going to get it all put together. So just make me a template of the floor here. Once I get the template of the floor, I can start laying out the pieces for the console. Once I got those laid out, I'll have the profile for the side of the console, and I can start with that profile and build from there. Now that I got my chipboard template all lined out where it needs to be, transfer it over to this 1/4 inch, turn this into a router template. We'll take that router template, make a couple of pieces, and we'll have most of a console. To the router. That's that. Alright, I'm going to glue them together. Nail them up. Now, a little bit of mud work on this. It'll almost be ready to wrap. Center console for the tanker is all done and ready to go. So next step, get it wrapped, get it in the truck, and kick it out the door.
Now that we have the 4-link on the tanker, Jesse's going to burn out some plates so Ryan can get going on the lower back brackets.
Tack that here onto this lower back plate. We'll tack the other one the same way. On a project like this, obviously everything is going to be a one-off part. This isn't anything that we can just go grab off the shelf. This is basically like the coolest part of the job, is getting to just build something from nothing, seeing everything come to life and seeing everything work. It's just like a little puzzle, or like a big puzzle, actually. So I'm taking this square right here and just kind of running it down and just making sure everything lines up right. This one's kind of free floated right now. I can move it around as I like. My spacing is never going to change. This one looks good. I got it pretty much exactly where I want to. I'll tack this one in and our bag brackets.
You know, back in the day, this tanker was made for hauling heavy loads, but now it's really just for show. Either way, this truck is still a heavy piece of equipment. With all this weight, we're going to use a lot bigger airbag than we normally use. So right now, Ryan's finishing up the heavy-duty upper bag mount.
So we're about to make our upper bag brackets now. We use these two 2x3s to brace the top of it, keep it very strong. And we'll take our D plates, we'll get them here, we'll center them, we'll figure out our measurement, and line it up, and then chop off our end. That way everything flows at the bottom. So after we get done with that too, I can make me a plate, and just give it some character, do something here, or figure something out. Now dam's cooked now. Up here, we're gonna get it welded, tack it up into the trailer, and weld it all the rest of the way out. You know, this could have been anything. This could have been very simple, or this could have been way more over the top. But this is the best part of fabricating, is I get to use my imagination and just come up with something what I would want in my own vehicle. And that looks cool.
The 64 Rolls is back from the media blast, and just as I suspected, it's bad. It's real bad. Because I had a feeling it was going to be this bad, I called in an old friend, a fabricator with skills to rebuild a Rolls Royce, my buddy Brandon Cisco.
Hey, Bill.
Man, Cisco, how you doing, man?
Good.
My son, Boston.
Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you. And that's the helper you're telling me about?
Yeah, that's why I sent him to bring it with me.
You got him qualified?
He's certified. He's been doing this since he was like 5 years old, so.
All right.
He's good.
All right.
You like sheet metal work?
Yeah.
Well, good, because there's a lot to do on here, right?
Yeah, it looks like he's been spitting a pastor for a long time.
You know, this car was bought out of Beverly Hills. So you were thinking, you know, we were going to get a pristine Rolls Royce and just modify it. Dude, we need a mess right now.
It's more like Beverly Hillbillies.
Right. You know, one good thing, we're not worried about factory body mounts under here, because even those are damaged. So we're going to build a full chassis for this, so it doesn't necessarily have to go back with replicating the factory body mounts or anything. So I need your guys' help on this.
A little more of a job than we anticipated, but ain't nothing we can't handle.
I think that's every job we take in.
Everyone.
Overly exaggerated, under anticipated. But I know you guys can handle it, man. I know I got the right team on the job.
Come on, man.
All right, man. Let's see what you got.
Looks like some of the pasture's still in it.
All right, so we got that piece off now, and just like I thought, there's a third layer we didn't see before. Instead of having 2 pieces to repair, we have 3 pieces. I've come to realize that rust repair is just an ongoing process until you get down to the good metal, and sometimes that good metal isn't there, so you have to replace the whole part. Well, this side looks even worse than that side. You can actually count the layers like tree rings in here of all the repairs, as each layer would rotten through. Hey, come over here, check this out. Those are original drain holes. If you push this back, you can see that's an original drain plug. They got covered over with somebody's repair. Nobody ever cleaned it. Let's keep going. Back in the day, these cars were hand-built by some of the best craftsmen in the business. They'd be rolling in their graves now they saw how people were repairing their dream work. I'm literally pulling these panels off with my fingers. So whoever did the last repair on this used pop rivets, no welds, no nothing underneath. It's a very low-budget way of attaching a panel. I think we're both down to the original metal.
Yeah.
So now where the flanges are off of these main braces, see where the edge of the flange is?
Yeah.
Cut straight through, and then cut up to the floor, about a ½ inch down from the floor.
All right.
It's embarrassing to a fabricator to see somebody go back over your work and just kind of cobble it up like this. All right, now I need a minute to evaluate what's next. Now I can see everything. All the layers have been taken off, so I can see where to start at the good metal, which with very little love still, but there is some. We've got some reference points of where the new rocker needs to be at the back of these flat couple patterns, and then keep this from happening again to the next guy that comes down the line 30 or 40 years from now to repair my work. He won't laugh at me like I did these guys.
You know, the 64 Rolls-Royce is definitely what I call a ground-up build. You know, and right now, we're at the basement. Cisco and his boy Boston are going to add back all that integrity into those rockers. You know, it's a lot of work, and you probably won't notice it when it's done, but we can't do anything until it's done.
Yeah, look at it. Lining right up. So we got the new rocker panels fitted to the car. They fit the floorboards, they fit the inner floor bracing. We're pretty happy how they fit right now, so we're going to go ahead and get them into place, finish welding them up, and move on to the outside rockers. So working with my son's great. He's been out with me in the shop since he was 2-3 years old, because I never told my boys, any of them, to not play with any of my tools. I would show them how to turn it on, show them how to use it, show them the proper safety. I didn't even start doing what I do until I was 15, so he's got about a 15-year head start on me. So I can't wait to see what it's going to be like the next 15 years. Oh yeah, a lot better. 100 times better. It's pretty solid, but it's not welded to the floor yet. So we're going to hammer down the floor to match the new flat panel we just welded in. So as I tap it down, he's going to go ahead and throw a couple of welds on there, and I'll move down and I'll just keep hammering it down until he gets it flush all the way across the bottom of the floor. So now that we get this panel in, pretty happy with how much it's strengthened up the bottom of the car and how straight it looks now and how it fits real nice and tight. Door sill plates are savable, but we need to replace all of this outside rocker piece. So we have to cut all these spot welds out, get this old rusty chunk off of here. So using the air chisel to take the spot welds off causes a lot of waviness in the metal. You can't really hammer and dolly it with all the welds in the way, so I knock those off the grinder real quick. Then I'll go through my hammer and dolly and straighten up this edge to the proper shape that it needs to be at for the new panel to bolt to it. Got some pretty big rust repair to do in this front corner. I don't even have a word to describe how bad some of this stuff looks. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this chunk out of here too and just fabricate a new front piece as well as a new back piece for this corner right here. That is all Bondo, so that's another person that prepared right over the top of somebody else's body color with steel. It's like a ham sandwich. It's really weird. So I will be also cutting this corner off now. Let's dig into this center pillar and see what it's like. So working on a project like this, you really can be overwhelmed by the entire project at once. You really have to focus on the structural part of it first. Get yourself a good base to start with.
You know, when I was first getting into this business, I never thought we'd be building a custom Rolls-Royce. But here we are, in the early building foundation stages. You know, there's many, many more stages to go and many stages after those stages. This build's going to be one of those to remember. But as one begins, another one is almost on the road. Ryan's finishing up those last bits on that 51 tanker.
Everything nice that we've done is being just taken away by all this crap that's left on here. We're not going to let it leave like that. So come up with a real simple plan, fast, easy. Take some 1 by 1 and run it down this whole section here. And then we can take some sheet metal and bend it, get a nice contour, and then we can rivet it in up here as well. And you'll never see any of this ever again. You'll just see 2 smooth, nice panels coming down, and it will just hide all this stuff here. Here comes the javelin. So I put this 1 by 1 up in there just so I can see where it's going to be. I made some marks so I can come in, grind it up, so I got a nice clean surface to weld to. Right, so we just got our metal rolled. You see we got our contour that we transfer all of our lines that we've made on this small template here to the bigger sheet. Once we have the brakes in it, we can throw it up underneath the trailer and see what we got. All right, 45. You know, doing this sometimes, you know, it does take a little bit longer. It does take a little bit more effort. You know, but at the end of the day, when you step back and look at the finished product, it's always better to go the extra mile and take pride in your work. Thank you, sir. Now that we got our pieces made, all we gotta do now is trim them to fit the trailer. So on the passenger side of the trailer, there's a bunch of hookups, other kind of stuff over there. So we're gonna trim around all that stuff to where we can slide these things in there and have the nicest, cleanest look as possible. All right, so we got our panels in place. We want to make something that covers this void right here. Keep air from wanting to go in there, make these things want to shake. We'll just take our chipboard, throw it on up in there, and also kind of clean up all this back here that we don't want anybody to see. Yeah, that looks better. Just gonna transfer it to some metal. Bango, bango. I got a nice pair of hands. Using a straight edge makes it much easier. You have like the straightest line that possibly can get, and really no cleanup. I got it transferred, cut out, everything looks good. We'll take it over there, throw it up there. If it fits, it ships. Like a glove. Love it.
I never do anything the same twice, so I'm just always learning. That's the original undercoating on the original panel. I started off building model cars, actually, and I never built the model car that came in the box. We would get 3 or 4 kits, and I would just mix and match them all together. All right, we're good. Got into high school, got to thinking about starting to drive and things like that. My dad said, if you want something to drive when you turn 16, you're going to have to look now and get something and build it yourself. At the time, I'd never even changed a spark plug or nothing. I was just just doing model cars. So I had big dreams of this big giant step-side Chevy truck. The way I bought that was I got a lamb, a sheep, and I raised it and I sold it at the fair and made a pretty good penny on it. My dad said that some family members had a 76 Chevy step-side that needed a lot of work for $600, and I started working on it at 15 years old. I'm 47 now. I'm really pushing myself to become the best at everything I can.
Alright, so everything's done with the trailer. It's all painted, powder coated, and everything. It's time for assembly. Start off. I've learned how to work by myself over the years. That's why you always grab 2 nuts. Whoa, no. So now that the bags and the tank and everything is starting to come together, it's all mounted. But this will go into the tank and it'll give me a supply out to my valves. There's a little water separator to keep the water out of your bags and everything. And then you got your pressure switch on the other side, which tells the compressors when to turn off and turn on. And this will go to my Pack 80, which will also get mounted on here, along with our battery and breaker and everything else. Yeah. So now we got compressors and tank, we got bags. I can mount my valves now. And then once we get our valves mounted, then we can run some air lines.
And it's been all hands on deck on this truck and tanker, but we're almost there. Airlines, new frame covers, the stacks, getting this 12 valve Cummins running, and we're ready to give this one back.
Hey, Bill, how's it going?
How y'all doing?
Good to see you, man.
Bill called us and said our truck's ready. I'm the owner of the company.
She trusted us to bring the truck down and put, Bill and his team spin on it.
My butt's riding on the line.
A while back, Larry and Matt came down and dropped the truck off to us. The plan was to make it fit in with your fleet.
Absolutely. This is a special one, though, because we're going to take it out into the communities where we operate and take it in parades. The other trucks are working trucks. They haul our fuel, but this one's going to be a showcase.
Well, I know you're going to like what we did. So you guys ready to check it out?
Yes,
ready?
sir. Absolutely.
Oh, my gosh.
It
is so awesome.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Look at the wheels.
That's awesome.
The stacks, Larry.
What do you think, Larry?
It's gorgeous.
I'm dumbfounded, man.
Can we get in it?
Lynn's reaction was priceless.
She loved it, which was a good relief for us.
Her family is going to be shocked when they actually all see it together.
It's gorgeous.
She just knocked it out of the park.
Beautiful.
I think they're liking it.
The colors.
One of the first things you see when you're walking to it is the front bumper. We had to get rid of that old channel that was on there.
Bill had a great idea about making it contour to the fenders and the grill, stretching it out.
Yeah, it looks like it was meant to be there.
That just sets the attitude for the truck, right? Another thing that we did right off the bat is just rip out all the old suspension. We built independent front suspension, new rear end, new 4-link rear suspension.
Wow.
With
Turn this thing easy.
and you have the hydraulic brakes now too, so anybody can hit the brake pedal and glide to a stop.
I think I heard you just say, I'm going to be able to drive it and feel safe.
That's it.
Awesome.
I know Larry's going to be really excited about this.
The big reveal, Larry. Oh, gorgeous.
Look at that, Larry.
Turbocharged 12-valve Cummins.
Yeah.
Automatic transmission. No more flathead in there.
Yeah.
How much horsepower did it have?
150 horse.
And this?
500 horsepower or something like that. We had to rebuild the firewall around that big old engine, and then went with the red paint on the Cummins.
I see there's got some AC lines going there too, buddy.
Yeah, we got you hooked up with that too, for sure. Of course, we had to add you some big old stacks out the back too.
I noticed them right when I walked in, the stove tops.
It ought to fit right in the yard now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we might have to put this thing to work.
One other thing, I got to have you riding good on the inside too.
Oh, gorgeous.
I'm styling now, buddy.
Yeah, man. And power steering too.
A normal steering wheel.
Yeah.
New gauges.
Everything's 100% new in it. New column, new shifter, sprayed it, body color.
It just looks amazing.
Yeah, we've done a ton of work to this thing. We didn't just stop at the truck. We had to come on with it with the trailer too. As you're walking by, you see the new paneling that we have all underneath here. It's had its share of fixes from here and there. What we did is cladded the whole bottom. You know, it had a big axle with a big spring pack and air brakes on it. We ripped all that out and put a 10,000-pound trailer axle with electric brakes, so you can drive it like a normal truck and trailer. You know, of course, we had to put some new wheels and tires on it to look cool. And not only that, a big 4-link rear suspension with the big airbags, so it's not going to beat you to death.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It looks so good. Your team did a wonderful job. The LED lighting on the trailer, everything looks great.
We got one other thing to show you.
What's
that?
it?
You want to hit it? All right. You're going to like this one.
Wow.
Listen to that.
You know, it's a first for us. We've never bagged a tanker truck and trailer before, right?
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
From her late husband starting the company to where it is now, and from seeing the truck where it was to where it is now, I can really tell Lynn was excited about this.
Every time we showcase it, we're going to think of you all and this amazing transformation.
Such a big build like this, it takes everyone in the shop. I can't thank my team enough.
We're going to get back to it.
Thank you so much.
Wow, look at that.
So cool.
A big job.
Yeah, we can't thank them enough. It was above and beyond what we expected. And we
Bring it back to life.
Man, this is original as it gets, right? What we're going to do is make this a tow truck, show truck.
This thing is way overkill. I mean, you can pull a house with this thing.
72 CUDA.
This is badass. You know, every kid's dream car.
The interior needs some work. There's a lot of parts and pieces that have to go together for this puzzle to work out. So we're going to do a rear seat delete in this car. Don't kill the CUDA. And it's naturally this color.
It's naturally this color.
Oh my God. I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
What's happening?
How you doing, Bill?
Richard, nice to meet you. Man, it's a cool looking car, man.
I appreciate it. 72 CUDA.
Man, you got the classic muscle car. This is badass. You know, every kid's dream car.
Oh, it was mine.
Right?
It was mine. Always liked them ever since I was little. My favorite Hot Wheels car. This is kind of something that you always dream about. Being able to get the car that you loved as a kid and build it up and make it as cool or badass as you want it.
How long you had this?
I've had it for about 6 months.
It's a cool looking car, man. I love the stance of it. I love the black, of course. You know, of course, it can always be a little lower, but that's just me. But,
I understand.
I mean, you had it for about 6 months. You're riding around, so it runs good, drives good. Just what's the issue?
Well, the interior needs some work. It's pretty stock, and not much of it works. It needs to be updated. Driving around on it, the interior, it kind of makes me feel like I've had the car since 1972.
So your only issue with this is just mainly interior?
For now, yes.
Shoot, let's check it out.
All right.
You know, I definitely see what you're talking about. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a good looking car. I mean, it's in really, really good shape.
Yeah.
But, you know, early 70s.
That's true.
Has a lot of plastic.
Yeah.
I mean, same with the door panels.
Yeah, the door panels too.
And definitely get rid of the plastic feel to it. And just give you some modern touches in it.
Maybe do it in leather or something. Maybe a little black and some suede. I want to upgrade the whole thing, but still keep a little bit of the old school muscle car feel.
Oh man, most of it. I totally agree with that. Looking in this car, you see just plastic everywhere. It does have some style to it, but for as cool as this car looks, it could be way, way, way better. So what's bothering you on the interior?
Really, the interior here is not enough bucket in the seat.
They're sliding around a little bit.
A little bit.
And I wouldn't replace these buckets. Just maybe reshape them a little bit, change the foam. Still have that flow to it, but just a little more ergonomic.
Yeah.
More user-friendly and a lot of style.
And the console, you know, you can't get your elbow on that. It's worthless for armrest. And this whole plastic thing here, shading over the shifter, I know it's a classic Cuda thing, but I'm not...
Give us some style, you know, some little more modern style to it, but still have that muscle car feel to it. You know, it's real cool when a person gets to the point in their life they can afford their dream car, go back and actually purchase it, drive your dream around, and come to a point to come to a custom shop and really make that dream just expand and really come true. Well, if you're ready, man, let's go do some paperwork. Make it official. This car right now is really, really cool. I mean, it's a good looking car, but in this world, there's always room for improvements. You know, to a custom car guy, once you drive around in something like this, once you get used to it, you're always thinking in the back of your head, hey, it'd be real cool to do this. Or man, it would be really cool to have this. We all get it around here. You want something new. You want something improved. You want something that nobody else has. When you're driving around in your custom car, which just makes total sense. If you're a car guy, that's one of the first things you're going to change. You want that the coolest. So we're going to start with the interior of this Cuda. When it comes to an old muscle car, making it cool and adding to the style, that takes a little more thought, a little more engineering, a little more everything to make a car like this stand out and make it even cooler. Johnny?
Trying to look at this really nice car, see what's going on.
This is what you think of when you think of old school muscle cars.
Yes,
that's it.
72 Cuda.
Yeah, man, this thing's cool.
It's had a pretty nice restoration done.
But, you know,
it's stock.
Custom car guys, you don't really like stock.
No, it doesn't matter how clean and nice the stock is, it's still stock.
Exactly. That's why you brought it here.
I'm going to make it cool, huh?
To make this cool. These seats go with this car, go with the style of car.
Right.
I think retaining these buckets in the front would be the way to go.
Yeah, bucket seats are iconic in these old...
Same with the console. Cuda's got to have the buckets with the consoles. Yeah. But reimagine this, man. Make it look modern.
Okay. Come up with something really cool in here, shape it out, add into it, and just work it all up into something new.
Same with the dash.
Okay.
You know, this just looks like just a piece of plastic.
We'll do something on the doors to tie it into the dash and work our way across, down and in. maybe even all the way into the rear corner, so everything will tie together and flow and have some really cool lines.
Exactly. And you know, Johnny, no good interior is done without some audio. Gotta have it.
All right, so basically we're just gonna take the inside of this car and completely reimagine it and just give it a whole makeover and make everything current, new, neat.
But still have that muscle car feel.
I like it. I think it's gonna be cool, man. This is a badass car. All right, well, I know what to do.
I know you do.
All right. This guy wants something that's more modern and up-to-date in his car, so we have to get all of this out and start all the way over from new because we don't do restorations around here. Take a little bit of time to get it all apart, but it's always worth it in the end. Easy. Don't kill the CUDA. Don't kill the CUDA. Takes a whole toolbox to take this thing apart. These older cars are kind of more tricky to get apart because they're just more solidly built, whereas newer cars, pop a panel off a couple screws and you can get just about anything off of a new car. That's done and out of the way, so a few more things and we'll be ready to start building. Once we have our idea locked in on paper, when you have to come inside the car and start putting that idea into real world action. So I've got this board cut here just so I can get a straight line across the dash. It gives me an idea of depth and where I'm at with parts and pieces in here. So basically it's just time to sit in here, take the picture from my head, build all the pieces. There's a lot of parts and pieces that have to go together for this puzzle to work out. So just take some time, sit in here, build it out in my head, figure out where it's at and what I need, and go from there. So, come out. Got an idea? It's time to make it happen. So next step I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this piece of chipboard and start working out the profile of the dash. Give me an idea of my depth and where everything's gonna need to lay out. So let's start getting something roughed in and finish working out our ideas. So I think that's gonna be the profile we're gonna work with. That's what we need. One of the important things you want to think about when you're designing a dash or a console or anything like that in a car, any car for that matter, muscle car, new car, old car, doesn't matter. Any of that you have to take into consideration. Accessibility, usability, putting things where you can reach them and don't have to reach way over. You want to keep it functional. You get things too out of whack and it makes it very difficult to drive.
That 72 CUDA is just an iconic muscle car. The trick on this interior is to do a full custom build while also keeping some of that classic style. That's all right. It's the last of the ribs. We'll start laying it out, get the structure put together, then we'll start making all the fun bits. You know, there's a lot of things that you can appreciate about muscle cars. The lines, the stance, the sound, you know, pure power of them. I mean, personally, what brought me into this industry was mini trucks. I'll be a mini trucker at heart, but I can still appreciate on the same token the work and the time, the effort that goes in to building a really nice muscle car, a really nice hot rod. All right, it's starting to take shape. This is just going to be our base. We'll skin this. This will give us our base to work off of. Then we can add our cluster, center console, any trim or anything we want, along with our AC vents, defrost vents, all that can be added in right on top of this. So, like I said, we're just working to get the main structure in here. Once we have that, then we can dress it up. Case in point, the CUDA. It wouldn't be the first thing I'd pick to build. Still, it's here. I'm gonna put my heart and soul into building this car because this is the passion that the customer has, is for this car. So, just adapt your passions with their passions and make it all work together. tonight and see this big old brand new wrecker with this old wrecker on the back.
Hey, Bill.
How you doing, man?
How are you, bud?
I'm doing all right, man. What you got going on here?
1952 Chevrolet wrecker.
Yeah?
70 years old. It's time to bring her back to life.
Where'd you come up with this at?
Found this one in Missouri. Been sitting for the 3 years in front of my business. People really stopping by and taking pictures and looking at it. So I decided it's time to bring her to life and make her a little shinier, a little prettier, and more drivable.
Right. Do you know any history on the truck?
The truck was basically built as a wrecker new from the Ernest Holmes factory. And it's basically still all original the way it went off the factory floor, except for a little extra rust. I came to Extensive and brought my 52 GMC tow truck for Bill and the guys to do a throwdown job on a tow truck show truck. I picked the tow truck because I own a tow company and I have 3 locations and a lot of brand new trucks possible and fit it into our business.
So you want to take this antique and just transform it into something cool to look at it?
Yes, sir. I want to drive it anywhere and everywhere. Starts and runs, motor starts and runs, you can drive it.
You're kidding me.
No, sir.
I wouldn't expect this car to run.
Starts and runs. But it doesn't start and run the way I want it to.
So, Terry, what do you see in there? Are you wanting to keep the patina look and just make it run good, or?
No, patina's cool, but I want this thing flashy. I want it shining. I want to polish it, keep it clean, and, just really enjoy it.
You want a new truck?
Yes.
And suspension?
Put it on the ground. I want it to be down, low, on the ground.
That's what we do best, man, is just rip out all the old suspension and just start fresh with new, clean frame rails, and we'll just build everything. Add air suspension to it so you get a nice ride quality. Big 4-link in the back, so we can put as much power as we want to under the hood, and it'll haul this big, heavy truck.
When you leave the car show, you always got to do a burnout.
That's right.
You got to have some horsepower.
We'll leave 4 black marks behind this sucker.
Hot rod 6-cylinder.
Man, straight 6, but I don't know about the hot rod.
Probably was 70 years ago, but definitely not what we need.
No. You got any idea? Do you want gas, diesel?
Or gas?
Yeah, for sure, man. So, taking a late model LT, putting down in here would be the way to go. That way it's plenty of power, reliable, and it looks real good when you pop the hood, too.
I don't want to see any of this when I open the hood.
No. 100% brand new.
Good deal.
Man, this is original as it gets, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, straight 52. I mean, what is...
That is reflectors. They used as flares back in the 50s to keep cars from hitting them when they were on the side of the road hooking up a vehicle.
Wow. There ain't much salvageable in here. Rip everything 100% out.
Sounds good. Make lots of room for a big guy.
Talking about a throwback in time, looking at this interior, but every single piece, every nut, every bolt, every screw, gotta go. It's gonna be 100% brand new. And we're gonna have our challenges to make someone of Terry's size fit in this old truck. Man.
Looks like a mess.
You don't care about any of this?
No, not so much. I want it to still look like a wrecker and function to somewhat. It doesn't have to be exact look.
So we can just rebuild the whole bed if we need to?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now you're
Keep
talking.
the same scheme, but just bring it up to today's world.
I know exactly what he wants. All in all, what we're going to do is make this a tow truck, show truck. It's going to be really, really cool. Fast, low, and tow. Terry, man, stuff like this gets me excited, man. I love working on stuff like this. This is going to be a cool project.
I'm looking forward to it, Bill.
Projects like this are what I like. This project's old. It's patina and everything. It's a cool truck just in its own state, pulled right out of the history books. The challenge of making something old, rusty like this to something that's pretty much a work of art that you can drive, excites a fire in you, man. It makes those creative juices start flowing. You get some ideas and it gets you excited. Projects like this make you want to come to work and just build cool stuff. I love stuff like this. every project has its set of challenges, but a project like this has many, 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 many challenges. I mean, and just getting back and getting the overall feel of the project and making the proportions fit right, every aspect of it is a challenge all in itself.
Man, what'd you get us into now?
Man, same thing I always get y'all into, right?
A lot of work.
Exactly. Basically, what I want to do is just get it in the shop and just pick the cab off the frame and build everything else.
Okay.
I mean, by the time you weld up all this, modify it, body work it, man, it's just not feasible to use anything here.
That was going to be my first question, is if we're keeping that.
Yeah, definitely not. Nah. I mean, Jamie can go shrimping with it. So we'll build everything from scratch, from the chassis, suspension, the wrecker bed to the custom boom, everything.
So you want to do like a heavy-duty frame on this thing?
Oh, absolutely, man. All 1-ton running gear.
Okay.
Big bags, adjustable so it sets low to the ground, and some big wheels on it too.
What size wheels?
24s, dual wheels in the back. I mean, it's gonna be
nice stance. We're laying it
really low.
Yeah, man.
It's gonna be nice.
That's always a cool thing, man. Whenever you get to just set all your own parameters and just do whatever you want, I love that.
I mean, that's what he wants. Is just here, build me a cool truck. So damn right, we're gonna build him a cool truck.
Good deal.
Ready?
Well, when you put it like that, I don't know.
Oh man, inline 6. No bueno.
Yeah, we ain't having that. Well, we're gonna leave it all in there and just lift the cab, so we ain't even gonna take this out.
Cool.
We're gonna roll it out.
That sounds amazing.
But what's going in it,
what you guys
is gonna make this build? LT4.
Supercharged? Yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's gonna run.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So we just got a little bit of work to do. Just some out there. Let's get busy and build some cool stuff.
Let's do it.
This 52 wrecker has just been essentially sitting on the side of the road in all the elements for some time now. So we got to tear off all the bad, which at this point is pretty much the most of it.
Getting the wrecker tore down, we're just going to do it the same way that we do everything else around here. We're going to leave the front end connected to the cab, take it up, and trash the rest of it. The challenges with this are getting all this rusted ass bolts off of here. I've been on here for 70 years, so...
Tilt it back like this, it won't spill. I gotta cut the steering column and get these front core support bolts loose wherever I can find them.
Yeah, it's loose. We're good. That fan right there, it's gonna catch still. No, we're good.
No, we're good. Everything's good.
Cool. That was too easy.
Well, we got an old tow truck completely stripped, tore down to bare cab and front end, the chassis. We're going to totally construct the bed from scratch, from nothing. So I'm going to put up my string line so I can kind of establish where the ground is going to be, and we'll take all the measurements off of that. Go down it a little bit. Down, down, down. There's no really wheelbase established, so trying to find that right wheelbase and then build the bed to that wheelbase is going to be pretty critical on a job like this tow truck. Yeah, we might cut 2 inches off that fender. That way we can get it up a little bit more. So this, man, if we make a running board right here, that's going to be way off the ground. We can cut it and make it lower and look way, way better. We're going to lay out the main beam in 2x5, and we're going to come back to 2x4 over the axle. So it's going to be very rigid, very strong. I know he's not going to haul a car, but if he ever wanted to, the frame's there for it. You know, the foundation is set for whatever you want to do with this truck 50 years from now. Go up in the back. Yeah, yeah. That's pretty damn close. Back up towards the back of the truck. Yep. Something that looks proportioned bed that we're gonna build. That looks good. To the stance it's gonna have super low to the ground. You know, all that is super critical, having that right wheelbase. Okay, man, I think that's gonna be, this is gonna be wheelbase. So on this, we established, you know, the wheelbase that I want to go with. We got our basic frame shape, so we're going to go back to the table, lay it out on the table, cut some chipboard, and get cutting. Old muscle cars like this 72 Cuda were just a lot more roomier than today's cars. You know, that's a whole lot of space for John to fill with that custom interior.
So we got the center monitor, placed where it needs to be. Now we're going to work on getting our console built underneath it and around it so we can tie into it. So I've got the sides of the console already cut out and ready to go. I'm going to curve them so we can get some shape to it. Once that's done, we'll start putting it all together, get it in the car, and keep working.
On the rear deck, I'm using the kerf technique because that's the only way to bend MDF. You can bend other woods using a steam box and steaming it and makes it pliable, but MDF, you get it wet, it just crumbles apart. So kerf the back, leaves the tension, you can work it in, get it built. And all right, we got our console in place, everything's laid out nice, know where my monitor is going to go, so I'm going to get this set back up in place, get where it needs to be. And the next step is just to box in around it, get it tied into the dash, work it down to the console. All right, everything's all dry. We'll pull this out, get over on the bench, and start body working. Right, last fit. Perfect. Section of the dash is done, body work and ready to go. I've got the pod made for the instrument cluster, so now I'm going to get it in place, get it mounted up, get it lined up nice and straight, and we'll start body working this to the dash. Okay. Keep standing.
Interior. We originally planned on keeping the rear seats, but after talking with the customer, we decided to go with, a little bit better audio setup.
So the next project we're going to work on the Cuda is the rear seat section. We're going to do a rear seat delete in this car and build something really cool back here. So I'm going to start out by making a template of the rear deck. Once I get that template made, obviously we're going to transfer that into some wood, make some pieces, start stacking stuff up, and see what we can come out with. There's the first piece of the puzzle. Got the base down, so basically this base is going to turn into a template. I'm going to use that to make all the rest of the pieces for this rear deck. Come from the rear deck, forward, and then tie in all the way down, across the floor, all the way into the console. Alright, so now what I'm going to do to help get my shape, give me some chipboard, get that glued in here, fiberglass over it. I'm just going to take and pre-cut all my pieces. That way when I start with anything, I've already got it all cut out and ready to go. And I can just layer it up piece by piece. That's going to be a fun one to do. So the rear deck, pretty much all built. All I need now just the baffle and the trim rings so I can body work those in, get all that tied together. That way we can move on, start on the subwoofer enclosure, and the rest of the rear seat delete. Building all this stuff on the computer, drawing it out, letting all the machines make your parts. It's interesting and convenient, but I still like the feel of being in a car, making the pieces by hand, and actually bringing it together piece by piece. Knowing that you did that with your hands and it came out of your head is way more satisfying than cutting all those pieces and letting the computers do everything. So they might try to take our jobs, but ain't it? All right, everything's dry, ready to go. Let's take it out and start body working.
You know, I'm a suspension guy at heart. So on a ground-up build like this 52 record, it's job one to get this chassis right because everything else sits right on top. Well, we got our drawings all laid out. We know what the frame's going to look like in the end. So I'm going to lay it out on the table here, then use the chipboard to have a perfect pattern to transfer over onto the metal. There's no chance of mismeasuring anything. I mean, that's the most efficient way to transfer this drawing onto the table, over to the saw, and then back onto the table. There we go.
All right, so as you can see, we started off with our frame on the table. Got all of our little chipboard templates here. Transfer it to the metal, make it easier on ourselves. Just make a line, mark it out, whatever we got to do. Get them all cut the same exact way. Get them over here, clean them all up, and start building our frame. So when Bill was in high school, back in 36, his friend came up with this little trick.
What we're going to do is run this string to make sure, our, the frame is so long, has joints in it. We're going to see if it's perfectly straight. I mean, pull the string super tight, you got a perfectly straight line every time. So I'm going to run a string all the way down from end to end, and then we'll have washers in between it to lift the string off the tubing just that 1/8 of an inch. So then we know the frame is 100% straight.
All right, I feel pretty good about this. This is really, it's tight, it ain't going nowhere. I can hit it around and it's not gonna move. I'm gonna once over it, make sure everything's, where I want it to be, and then we'll tack it, get it stood up, put some cross members in there, and take it over to the truck.
When we're building a custom chassis like the one that's on this 52 record, we tend to overdo it. I want it to last another 70 years.
And just like everything else in the custom world, this thing is way overkill. It's way over duty. You can pull a house with this thing, so.
We established the wheelbase, now we're going to build a 2x5 frame.
All right, first things first now is fit up, you tack it, throw a couple stitches on it, make sure it's good to move around. The cool thing about this one is going to be just that it's different than the rest of them. We get a lot of the same stuff most of the time, a lot of C10s. And that's the majority of the chassis that I get to build. So this will be kind of fun. I get to do a little bit different things on it, 4-link it and all that stuff. So that'll be a pretty cool build. All right, now that I got it stitched up, I'm going to make our truss now. I'm going to go grab some 2-inch pipe, clean it up. So ladies, this is actually probably about 200 pounds, that pipe right there. And doing chassis work is always really cool because it's the first initial build. You can do all your sheet metal work and all that stuff, and that's cool, but you know, setting the foundation for anything is always like what the build is going to be. You know, you have something so beautiful underneath, you don't want to skimp out on that and waste your money or waste your time. You want to go all in and, you know, make it worth it. All right, we got this marked out where we want it. We'll let the bender do the work. Bend this 45.
You know, I'm an instant gratification guy. But ground up builds like this record, well, they take patience, not to mention a lot of hard work. We started with this frame, and that's going to give us all the strength and rigidity that we need. You know, from there, we're going to go on and do custom suspension, and then a bed, and then on and on. You know, I'd like to see it done tomorrow more than anyone, but that's where the patience comes in. When this 72 CUDA came out, there was a lot of crazy colors that you could choose from. One of those colors was grape ape purple, so John's heading out to find some purple accents for the interior.
Hey, what's going on, Greg?
Hey, how's it going? Good to see you again.
Yeah.
What you after? Every now and again, needing some wood for his cars. It's great to see our wood used in such beautiful projects.
We're doing a 72 CUDA, and the guy wants to pay homage to Mopar. And honestly, I can't do the grape ape that they do.
Sure.
So I'm thinking dark purple, and the Purple Heart being naturally purple is, I think it's going to be perfect. So
yeah.
I brought some templates and figured I'd come through and see what you had and try to match something up.
Okay, yeah, sure. We got some Purple Heart right back here.
Awesome.
Right in here.
Look at that. And it's naturally this color.
It's naturally this color. Real nice hardwood.
This first section of Purple Heart is their milled lumber, which is great, except for it doesn't fit my templates. So let's see what else he's got.
We got some boards that'll be right up your alley.
Man, look at that.
That's a nice one.
This Purple Heart is going to be our statement piece inside of this car. Everything else is black, but that purple is going to pop against that black and really stand out. Not to mention, it's going to tie back to that Hemi purple that the customer is looking for. That's going to be perfect. I mean, I don't need all of this, but I can always find a use for it.
Sure thing.
Not to mention, though, I get to make something else out of it, so pretty stoked about that. I like it.
Okay.
I'll take that one.
Now for the hard part.
I'm going to let you carry it out so I don't break anything in your shop. From where we started with the CUDA to now, I had to throw out a lot of the old plastic and start over. And I just finished making the last of the big pieces on the rear deck. All right, perfect fit. Now just everything else. Yeah, let's do it. It's all the little detailed things at the end that take a lot of time and patience. Like installing the carpet, which is a little bit more challenging on this one. I've got the floor all flattened out, foam smooth, got the jute padding in it, it's looking great. So the next step, get the carpet in here, start laying it out, getting it cut in, heat formed and glued down. So then I'll be sanding down all of the pieces I made and wrapping everything in leather. And only then can I get to installing it one last time. The types of vehicles that come into the shop, they're from one end of the spectrum to the other. You know, from muscle cars to vans, trucks, lifted trucks, mini car tells its own story. Every vehicle has its own voice. And once you get into that vehicle and start designing and working with it, it kind of talks to you and gives you those ideas that you can carry that into the inside of the car and complement the rest of the car with what you're building. Sometimes utilitarian, sometimes over the top, sometimes clean, classy. Really, it just depends on the style of the build that we're after. No two cars are the same. We don't build the same vehicle twice around here. Every one of them's different. So to be able to sit back, look at a car, get a feel for it, and know where we're headed with it, and adapt to that, and just bring that to life inside of the car really, really just hits home. That's the reason I wake up and come in here every day.
John's been working working long and hard on that interior on the Cuda, and today's the day. Customers here, ready to show it to him. I know he's going to be excited to see it.
How you doing?
What's happening, man?
I hear you got something for me.
Man, I do, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I can't wait to see the interior of this old car.
Oh, John's been working hard back there.
Well, John's a magician, so... Exciting day for me. Got a call the other day from Bill. He said my car was ready, and I can't wait to see it.
Say, Johnny.
Oh, hey, what's going on, man?
How you doing, John?
Man, I tell you what, been working day and night. You got here just in time, though. Why don't you check it out? Over that driver's door.
Oh. Damn. When you said you were going to wake it up, you woke it up.
Yes, sir. That was the plan.
Oh, this is awesome. Oh, this doesn't look anything like the old school one. Oh, I love it.
Awesome.
Love it. I don't even want to get a fingerprint on it anywhere. When I opened up that driver's door, holy cow. It looked nothing like it used to look. He did a fantastic job. He did exactly what I wanted him to do to it, and I couldn't be happier.
Started out by ripping the entire dash out and built that straight from the beginning. There was nothing there.
So you guys took the whole original dash and just tossed it away and built that all from scratch?
Yes, sir. Found a really cool dual screen setup that is an LCD display. So it's very modern looking. Your center screen is actually a touch screen. It controls your AC. It'll have your audio.
Can't even imagine what it's going to be like driving this thing.
It's going to be like driving a new car.
This looks nicer than most new cars, tell you the truth.
You know, center console, bringing that color down into the console all throughout the car. You know, that Purple Heart wood, you know, that was just a nice touch, and just, it wakes up that whole interior. It just completes the whole inside of the car.
From the dash, we moved into the center console. You know, when you came in, you didn't have any place to actually rest your arm, so got that problem solved for you. Got room for a couple of drinks when you're out cruising around.
One thing they didn't do in 72 is drink holders. And the seats, what an upgrade.
Yeah, no, those came out of a BMW M4. Nice sporty seat. It's got high bolsters on it. You don't have to worry about sliding around in the car. They're going to keep you planted. So you go cornering, you won't go cornering.
Well, I appreciate that. Whoa. That back dash is clean.
So yeah, that rear deck is, you know, that's fully sculpted from top to bottom. Basically made it modular, give it some depth, some feel, some life instead of just being flat and plain. Everything's got movement to it. There's nothing just sitting still back there, kind of like the car. The car, when you look at it, it looks moving. So we had to do the same thing inside the car and get everything flowing with the body lines of the car.
The rear deck lid is amazing. You know, I love the fact that he got rid of that back. Tell me about these speakers.
You know, back in the 70s, it was all about wooden speaker enclosures, visible speakers, nothing covering them up. So kind of went with that feel, put that in there, got the exposed speaker, and it gives it that chrome look to help tie it in with the era of the car.
Well, I told Bill you were a magician, and you brought the magic.
Awesome, thank you. And, you know, last but not least, the door panels.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of work went in there. We were able to take your factory door panel. That way we kept some of that stuff in place. And just added onto that, we got the speaker molded in to carry on from the back. Everything ties in together.
Well, if there's anything from the old door on this one, I can't tell.
You wanted to wake it up, right? This the man to get that for sure.
Yes, sir.
It still has that old school feel, but definitely modernized. Still a 72 Cuda, but it feels new.
I tell you what, the car's always been beautiful from the outside. Now it's beautiful on the inside.
Yeah,
like my heart.
Overall, he did a fantastic job. There's nothing in this car that I'm not totally jazzed about. I mean, I can't wait to get it out on the road and drive it. Now the inside of that Cuda is prettier than the outside of that Cuda. And that's pretty hard to do with a Cuda.
You know, John, you know, he was just blown away. You know, all that old plastic's gone. You gotta have that adjustability. We're gonna let rear steer on it. Be really doing donuts. John's filling it with a ton of subs. Now we'll see if it fits. The 52 wrecker is my ground up build. The next step on it is building a bed from nothing.
Oh yeah.
best part of the whole build. We have all this open space to work with and unlimited options.
It'd take a lot of work, but we're gonna get it figured out.
Dang! Golly!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You know, decided to make a roof for the side-by-side because there wasn't anything there. So I'm definitely not going to buy a. This custom roof is just one more step on the 23 Polaris Ranger. We got the top chopped 4 inches to get that roof line way down and to make it way more streamlined. I wanted a camper on it, but that's not something you can order, so we made it ourselves. I'm going to have Jesse burn me out perimeter. I can weld in this seam all the way around. We'll actually sandwich some 3/8 plexiglass in between the 2 pieces of metal. With that same file that Jesse drew, I had John cut me out some 3/8 MDF that represents the thickness of the plexiglass. So I'm going to sandwich these two together, put it up in the roof of the side-by-side, clamp it all together, and I'll have my perfect fitment where the plexiglass is all going to be. So everything will be nice and straight, measured out, perfect distance. When I sandwich all this together, it's going to look really, really cool. Once we get the roof done, we can start mocking up that suspension. And then we're going to move to that dancing bed. You know, it's an old mini truck thing where the bed moves back and forth all on hydraulics. You know, what build wouldn't be complete with lights and a whole lot of stereo systems? So we get a nice little spot for our plexiglass to fit now. Yeah. Man, we got our bottom lip. It'll be 100% watertight. We won't have any drips when you go through and splash a big mud puddle. So it's real cool. It's going to look really, really clean, and it's going to be different. And not too many side-by-sides have 2 sunroofs. Making this thing stand out is not easy. There's so many of these Rangers out at the mud park. I mean, so we got to put everything we got on it. We're going to go ahead and put rear steer on it. Grab your side on the other side. So the rear steer is going to allow the rear tires to turn along with the front tires on a toggle switch. So if you wanted to cut a sharp circle, you just hit that rear steer, turn your wheels together, be really doing donuts.
My dad told me we're finally tearing this thing apart, so I had to come down and help out, you know. Maybe if I help out on the build, they'll let me take it out.
Start taking off the exhaust, take off the control arms, take off the spindle, take out the shafts. I mean, we're gonna pull this thing completely apart.
Oh, that's the best part.
Yeah. Okay, well, we got all our control arms right here. Look at the difference. Looks like we could snap this. This right here, this is solid. You could run this on our truck. The same thing with the rear. I mean, this is thin square tubing, and this thing can go through some hell. Get rid of these weak little links right here. One less thing to break on the trail. So we need to go ahead and find all our bushings, get our bushings pressed in. We got our ball joints we gotta do. You got this, huh?
Yep.
Hey. Next, we're gonna go ahead and start putting them back on the Ranger. We still have to put an air strut in. We're taking the spring off the strut, and we're going to replace it with this airbag. That's going to give us that up and down air suspension movement. You can adjust this spring. All it's going to do is compress. This right here, we can put air in it, make it expand, let it air out. So it's going to give you a lower and a higher ride height. Cool. We're going to go ahead and just put the portals in without the CV axles, because let's just snug them up. This is our hydraulic ram right here. And it's going to push this rod out to the spindle, connect to the tie rod, and that's going to turn your wheels left and right together in sequence. So it's a tie rod. This is basically going to hold tension on the wheel. It's going to bolt just like you see right here. We're going to put a Heim right here, through bolts it, 2 misalignment spacers. Once you put that on there, that's going to complete our steering right there.
This is a huge improvement from what we had before. We got new arms, we got new air struts, and we got this rear steer system. This is just gonna be insane. I can't wait to take this thing behind my dad's back when he ain't looking, take it out with my friends.
While we're finishing up the suspension, I'm gonna go with all black glossy paint on the Ranger.
Next, we want to take the heat gun and heat up all the stickers. If it's any stickers on it, we want to get all the stickers off, just like that. Painting metal, you usually clean it, sand it. Plastic, you scuff it to get the adhesion so you have something to adhere to. And from there, it's the same steps as painting metal, and we'll prep a piece of plastic. Alright, first what we have is the adhesion promoter. It actually helps the paint adhere to plastic. Step 2, sealer. It gives you a nice solid base to enhance the color. Alright, third step, the color. Same thing, just maybe 2 coats. Last time, 5-10 minutes. Then we'll move on to clear. You really want it to be thick. You really want it to be real deep. I mean, because that's what gives you that reflection. That gives you that pizzazz, as they say in black. If it takes an extra coat of clear, then that's what we do. If it's not shiny or glossy, then it's really, you know, you didn't achieve your goal. And our main goal for this black is to make it like as glossy as possible. All right, a couple hours of dry. We'll see you on the next trip.
Hey, what's up, Bill? Little project you want to do?
I do. I really appreciate you coming by. Shorty, I got much respect for you for many years. So I got this crazy idea that I want to do hydraulics on. You know, in Houston, when it comes to lowriders and hydraulics, Shorty's the man. You know, he's one of the only ones that I trust when it comes to making this dancing bed. You know, I've always liked the old 90s mini truck dancing beds. I always wanted that.
Yeah, you know, that's coming back. You know, there's a lot of guys out there building little trucks all over again.
Yeah, man.
Well, what you got? On doing a side-by-side.
On the side-by-side, yeah, man.
Something crazy here.
I've never seen that before. I think that would just be unbelievable.
Could be done.
You know, me and the guys, we use this to go off to the off-road park. You know, I was going to keep it stock, you know, just so you don't have any problems with it, but I can't have that. Since I'm building this side-by-side, it's going to represent the company. I want something just unbelievable, something crazy that nobody's ever seen before. And that's what I need your help with, man. I know you are the king when it comes to something like that.
Yeah, I guess we can do a 4-stage on it. We can do a tilt back with the double Z-rack and then one tilt to the front. So that way it's really up there and you're going to be king of the park.
Wow, man, that sounds really cool, man. That's what I'm looking for.
I get my sons out of here. All right, sir, we get on it.
We're doing a dancing bed on side-by-side?
Yeah. I never seen that before.
It's crazy. You know, Bill's a little local también, you know, so it's going to be a little challenge being the bed's so small. It could be done, you know, we're going to do it. First things first, we got to build the subframe for it, the first rack, and go from there.
All right, let's make this dancing bed. Shorty and his sons are getting after that hydraulic bed for that 23 Polaris Ranger. But before they can get going, like on any job, they need to start by prepping that existing frame.
All right, now that we got the bed off, we got the original frame, and we can take measurements with this. And I think the first step is going to be we want to move this mount further to the rear. That way it has a better swinging. That way it has a higher pitch on it.
So let's get this stretched out as far as it needs to be. That way we can make the first subframe. Go ahead and grab this. Let's get going.
I'm gonna go ahead and cut this original hinge off to extend this frame out. Got that cut off. We can add on that 11.5 inches of 2.5 by 1.5 square tubing.
Okay, right now what I'm gonna cut is gonna be the frame extension. So this one's actually 1.5 inches by 2.5. It's gonna be a little bit taller, but we're gonna drop that part down, and it's a thicker wall, so it's gonna be able to handle the weight of the all the racks and the bed and the camper and everything else. Pretty good. All right, got the 2 extensions cut. I think they're a little bit taller than the factory frame, but that just gives it more strength. That ain't going nowhere.
To get that bed dancing around the way I want, they need to build 3 frames to stack together, so that'll give it the ability to front, back, and side to side.
I want to go ahead and square them out and go ahead and get them welded up. Well, I got these brackets squared out on the hinges. Tack weld them. There we go. We got 2 hinges made. Then it's the test time. Make sure it's squared out. We're gonna go ahead and tack weld them. There it goes.
So this is the first one. Everything looks good. But now after this, then we have the second stage, which is gonna flip to the right.
So right now we're determining placement of the hinges all the way to the edge.
Now put it on there.
So now that we found the placement of the hinges on the second stage, we're going to take it back to the welding table, ready to go.
So this is a lot stronger than what originally came on the vehicle.
Pretty much no matter where it's at, driving off-road, on-road, car shows, whatever, this thing can be dancing around and you ain't gonna have no problems with it.
Okay, all the stages are in.
Now we have a dancing bed.
Oh man, it caught you working.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Got plenty to do?
I got too much to do right now.
Well man, you got a little more to do.
That's alright, bring it.
I really like how it's coming out, man. I mean, we got that frame underneath the cab. Man, super strong. We got all the cab mounts made, the cab's connected, all the suspensions made, super heavy suspension. It's super strong.
I know, I seen how it was all built and the way that frame is, just looks like a metal jungle gym. Just so beefy, and I know it's gonna handle anything, especially that engine that's in there.
You know, that LT4 640 horsepower, it's gonna leave 4 nice black marks behind it. That's what he wanted, a lot of power. That's what he's got.
When you get out in that parking lot and do the first test drive.
Yeah, just a test.
yeah, we know what the test drive is.
Well, the next step on it is just building the bed itself, building it from nothing. You know, just getting back, clamping some flat bar together, getting all the proportions looking good. I mean, that's super critical on something like that. And then I want to incorporate, you know, a light bar built onto the bed. You know, something looks cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I just don't want to go down to RPM and get a light bar for it. I want to build everything to make it kind of fit and flow all together. And for the last part, the coolest part, is going to be building the whole record boom.
Have you ever built anything like that before?
No, never. Hey, but that's
the fun part. Yeah.
All right, man. Get to it.
All right.
We got our new frame underneath the old 52. We got our rear end in, got the 4-link and everything established, so that locates our wheelbase. It's going to be low to the ground, so I want to put the fender super low. And I want to use an older style fender on the outside of this record bed, so it looks kind of nostalgic, right? So the next step is getting the shape of the bed. We're going to set some flat bar up here and kind of eyeball the shape, just the overall height, the width. I need a little slope on the back. Maybe like right here. So we have some measurements to go by. I know it doesn't look like much right now. It just looks like a bunch of scrap metal in a pile, but you know, everything's established with these quick little pieces of flat bar angle tubing tacked into place that gives us a great shape to start with. Yeah.
I'm gonna make a template around the side of this cab with some chipboard. That way, this 2x2 that we set in here has this perfect shape to it to make all of this actually flow into the cab, make it look like it's supposed to be like that. So to get that shape that we're looking for that we made on our template, what I did was just rolled this 2x2, gave it a nice up, and then made a little relief cut in here. The metal will naturally want to try and banana curl, you know, so added a little bit more pressure and got it where I wanted it. Then I can just come in with a piece of 10 gauge and fill that in, weld it, grind it smooth, and you'll never know. See how that transition is smooth? It's perfect to the side of the cab. So we have that same gap all the way down the whole way. Put it up to the paint sticks, throw some tacks on there, get some weld, grind the weld off, and it looked like it was all one piece, rolled all the way out. Of course, this is made long right now. Wherever it'll tie in will get cut down. It'll be all done.
You know, the 52 Wrecker is for sure what I call a ground-up build. We built the custom frame, suspension, and making the entire bed from scratch. Once we're done, there will not be another one like it.
So now that Bill and I have the frame laid out on what we want the bed to look like, what structure we want it to take, I'm going to take these pieces of pipe that I have cut, I'll clamp it to this frame that we have made right here, connect the dots, and then once I have some sort of frame structure, I can get rid of all this stuff and we can stand back and look at what we got from that point forward. We might tear it apart, we might keep it, we don't know yet. Just like we did here, we're gonna do it in pipe now, so this lines up perfect with the back of the cab the whole length, and then it keeps shooting out, so we're gonna have to just roll it right here on this corner. Pretty doggone good, I tell you what. Doing one side of anything is always super simple. It's mirroring it that is the pain in the butt. I'm gonna try and make myself some type of jig like that we got going on over there, some type of framing to where I can kind of set this in and get it tacked in just like I did on that side. See if this is the right height. We're not so different, you and I. Now you can kind of see the direction that we're going. We got the shape now and everything's, you know, looking good. It's gonna look really cool. We'll keep on adding some pieces to the puzzle. All right, so we just finished up on our tubular frame here. Main reason why is of it. So now that we got our base done, now we can start getting into the fun part and bending and rolling some sheet metal and really start seeing this thing transform and take shape. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Adding hydraulic cylinders under the bed of the 23 Polaris Ranger. You know, once that's installed, it's going to lift and articulate, and that's what's going to be our dancing bed.
The tough part about this part of it is making sure that the cylinders, everything is in line. If you don't get everything aligned properly, you know, you're going to end up twisting your bed or it not going up properly, and it's going to look kind of cockeyed, so you want to make sure everything is straight.
On these cylinders, normally in a lowrider, you know, we'll probably push, you know, 5,000 to maybe 8,000 PSI into the cylinder. In a hopper, you can push anywhere between 10,000 to 15,000 PSIs into these cylinders. So with this little tilt, it's gonna handle no problem.
We can run a 1.5 cross. That way you have your legs be able to attach this. 25 3/4.
We got the material cut for stage place. Challenge-wise is making sure the cylinders mount on each stage is in the right spot. We got hydraulic hoses that are going to be mounted on the top sides of the cylinders. They can pull cause failure, and then if a hose comes down, whole bed's coming. So everything has to clear. If not, it'll be a disaster. Okay, so now we got all 4 stages, cylinders in place, tack welded. We're gonna give it a final test of all 4 stages.
Looks like pretty good. It's functional. Finish welding it and then start on the bed.
Looks like we got ourselves a bed dancer. Let's finish it up. You ready to pop some wheelies with this thing, huh? You're gonna install the hydraulic pump and the dump valve assembly. It's an 8-valve system, so it uses 4 valves to open and 4 valves to release the pressure. Basically, whenever you hit your switch, it's gonna send a signal to this terminal on the solenoid. We have power coming in on one side, so it's gonna open up. It's gonna send power to this side of the relay, which is gonna come to the motor. Motor spins, turns the gear inside, pushes the oil out through this hose. It's gonna run to the valve, and then these valves are gonna control which movement on which stage. So the first things first is gonna mount the pump. So we already made our bracket. This is what the pump's gonna mount up to, and we welded it straight to the frame of the truck. All right, so we got the pump mounted in. We're gonna go ahead and mount the manifold in place. We'll mount it on the first stage. So this manifold is gonna send the fluid to each individual stage. So they're labeled cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that's gonna correspond to which stage. So this will be stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. So whenever we run our hoses, we have to make sure our wire's made up to which dump is actually opening at the same time. Okay, so the manifold's in place. Next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and start running the hoses. What's up, Pooch? I don't need no kisses. So on the first stage, means it's 2 cylinders. We actually have a single hose that's gonna tee off. Means it's only a single port. That way it controls both cylinders off of one side of the manifold. Move on to stage 3. Now stage 4. So right now it may look like there's a lot of extra hose in here, but once the stages start opening up, you have to leave room for the movement of the stages, because the cylinders are actually gonna move further away from the melt through the casing on the hose. Because these hoses here, if they sit there and rub, you end up putting a hole in it, pouring oil everywhere, and you have a big old mess. Oh, I'm gonna run the hose from the pressure off the pump, so we can start running it up towards the valve assembly. We're gonna go ahead and do a little test, see how it flows. Hoses are all connected, they all fit properly. We're good to go, ready to mount the bed. Put some fluid in the pump, start dancing this bed.
Shorty and the Sons are doing an excellent job on that dancing bed for that 23 Ranger. You know, only thing left to do is tack it all up and give it a test.
Okay, the bed is on. Everything else is in place. We're going to tack a bracket from the bed to the top rack. That way the bed stays moving with this rack on top.
And brackets, but the tabs that we tacked onto the stage here are going to be drilled and tapped, and we'll be able to bolt them in. That way they're able to be removable. So from here, we're going to run the final wires, the oil on the pump, and test it out and see what we have. Right amount of oil. Next, we're going to connect our wires that are running to our valves in the back, to our switch cord, and then we also have our switch power that's going to get connected, and the only other thing is our power from our battery to our solenoid, and we'll be ready to test. So now that these are wired in, this is going to be your first stage, second stage, third stage, fourth stage, and then up is, you know, raising, and down is dumping it. Moment of truth. Look at that. Yeah, we got a bed dancer. All right, mission complete. Man, I don't know if Bill knows what he got himself into.
Now it's time to take it back apart and get everything powder coated.
Oh, we gotta hide the switch box from the guys in the shop.
Even just having the frame built for that fit is going to make it look even cooler with a lot of fab work and a lot of sheet metal.
So now with the whole frame built, now we can start the sheet metal process. The best part of the whole build, get to design the whole look of it. So from here on out, it's just a bunch of bending and cutting and trimming and, you know, give this thing some character. Go ahead, jog it.
It's cool, you know, each angle you put it on, it totally changes the look of this record bed. We didn't bend this a little bit, Mom. So it goes, you're creating the attitude of the truck. You're creating the photos that's going to be taken a couple months from now, a couple years from now. You're creating those cool little lines that people are going to talk about and get the buzz about. So it's kind of cool. Each time we put a piece of metal in place, you're creating a cool truck, and it's going to be a memorable truck. We got to do some trim. Yeah, I mean, we're going to work our asses off all day. Either way, we might as well get to create and make some cool stuff and really be extra rewarded when you get done with stuff like this. Good job, Ryan. What I'm trying to say is, man, you do an okay job.
That's pretty okay. That's pretty okay. Alright, so now that we got the shape of what we're going to go with, we're going to start with this first panel here. We'll get it buttoned up and tech screwed in, and then we'll get to the cool part, cutting it all out, putting the fenders on, and really seeing, you know, exactly what this is going to look like. This is great being able to create stuff like this and just kind of going off a general idea and seeing what you're capable of doing. We've all been doing this for a long time, but you know, there's always curveballs and there's always something new every single day, and there's always something new to learn. And you know, this is just exciting to me, you know, be able to use my brain a little bit. I'm just trying to get this seam lined up right here. So the transition from here to here is aligned all the way down, and there's not any wavy spots or anything. So keeping this straight is the only thing I gotta worry about. Everything else will just fall in place after that. Run the straight edge all the way down, and when it meets, put a tack all the way down until you get all the way to the bottom. And we know right here is the top of our rings all the way through. Might need to come back and tweak, so we'll just leave this few tacks on here for right now, just in case we gotta pop it off. We're not grinding everything out. But it's looking good, feel good about it, so move on down and move on to the next piece. Alright, I got this last piece fit up real nice. Gonna tack this in, Smucho Wayno there, and move around to the back. Oh yeah. One more. Get a fender on this thing, it'll look even cooler. You want to see what fender on? I already have some measurements of where the wheel is. I'll make some lines. Get the plasma over here, cut this out. There she goes. And then we can take our fender, mock it up, and get it where it needs to be. Now that the fender's on, you can actually start to take shape, and man, it looks super cool. It looks really nice, especially with this running board that we're going to build in here. I wish it was coming home with me. This thing's going to be pretty sweet.
You know, it's a big project, so we're going to be bending and shaping a whole lot of metal on this 52 record bed. There's nothing quick or easy about it. Brian's got to make everything by hand.
Alright, so now that we got all the sheet metal work done with the outside of the bed, we're going to move inside now. Come up with this little template, if you will. Something that we kind of made up. We want to see if it will look good or not. So we know it fits this right here, but as you can see, the bed tapers and it slopes down. So I can just measure to the bottom of it. We got 8 3/8 and 6 3/4. I'll go bend me a piece real quick. We'll see what it looks like. So I'll take a piece of sheet metal and I'll break it and put this roll in it, put that bend in it. So that will give us the shape of what the inside of the bed will look like, and then we can go from this point out 19 inches. You're starting with one piece and trying to make, you know, there's a lot of times you do this stuff and it might look right, but you might be off an 1/8 inch down at the bottom and you got to start over. So a lot of these pieces are just trial and error, even though, you know, we got a kind of certain direction that we want to go with. So, you know, bending all this stuff and, you know, standing back and looking at it, this is one of those times in the build that takes forever, but, you know, in the end, it's worth it. You know, put a little bit extra time and we're going to have 4,000 bends in the bed of this truck. So, you know, just doing this over and over and over and trying to stick with that one shape and that one look is, you know, really important at this point. So, you know, if it don't look right, start over. So now that we got this third piece in place right here, now you can see what one complete side of the bed will look like on the inner structure here. So we can continue on with the front. We're going to keep at it. Alright, so we got our driver's side fender well in, tacked up, leveled and everything. So we got this straight edge going across. We can start the fun part and start piecing the whole floor together, doing the sheet metal work and getting rid of seeing the frame, and you can actually see the whole bed here in a minute. So we'll get this tacked in. Alright, so we got both of our fenders in. They're both square, level, true to the bed and everything. So now we can start with our sheet metal floor and seeing what design we want to go with. We have all this open space to work with and, you know, unlimited options. We'll figure out what we want to do and keep on rolling.
This record build's been one of the biggest we've had over the last few years. But other than the cab, we've had to build everything by hand. Just like the bed, we've made really good progress, but we can't finish it until that boom's made. But that's something we've never done before, like pretty much everything else on this job. It'd take a lot of work, but we're gonna get it figured out. And then we can finally look to getting this truck back on the road. You know, I had a mini truck way back in the 90s. I want to bring some of that style into the brand new Ranger. You know, what better throwback than a dancing bed, a custom camper, and of course, a big stereo system. And right now, John's out there filling it with a ton of subs.
Every woofer has specifications that you have to follow to get the optimal sound and get everything to work right. And I've got some great measurements inside here that'll make it easy to get the airspace I need. This is the problem. This. So for this box, we're going to be using expanded PVC. We're doing a full marine system inside of this side-by-side. That way, you don't have to worry about any of the elements. Off to the races. Let me know when you're done. You really want to go with something that's good and structurally sound. You know, this thing being 12, 14 feet in the air, plus with Bill on the controls, because he's never easy on things. So we got to be able to make sure that it can withstand all of that, then some, because I can guarantee you, if it can break, Bill will find a way to break it every time. What I'm gonna do is just rough fit this thing together to see if I can get it in that opening. If not, then we can take it apart, cut it in half, do whatever we need to do, piece it back together, get it back in the camper shell. Why are you fighting with me, man? Why are you fighting with me? I'm trying to do you good. Perfect. Now we'll see if it fits. Oh, come on, baby. We're so close. I don't give up. I'm really happy it fits. So the next step is I got to build the back half of the box that's going to create enough airspace that the subwoofers need. We'll put it in the box. We'll get it cut in, and that'll give us a window into the subwoofer's world. So I've already taken and I've drawn out the window that I want to mimic the headlights on the Ranger. Get it into my carving program for my router and save. I'm pretty thankful that I finally embraced the technology. It's really helped out to make things a lot easier to deal with. Back in the day, this would just been all hand done on the router, duplicating parts and pieces. Machine does it. We can make the pieces bigger. We can make them smaller. Man, this thing, it just spits it out over and over, and I can go do something else, which usually means I'm going to go sand something. It's just a win-win all the way around. You know, as I start to design this, I've got to make the inside of the box look good. We got to dress that up. Just really make a whole presentation out of what's going to be here. So work a little bit of that into this whole scenario and get it kind of built out. We'll start body working it and mold it all together. Make something cool.
Hydraulics been around for quite a long while now. Early 40s or 50s actually. It all started with surplus aircraft equipment. There was hydraulic pumps off the aircraft. A lot of stuff was off the landing gear. I mean, now, they're in their business, and the boys here, they grew up at the shop pretty much, and they're all pretty talented on what they do. Mark, he's one of the ones that runs the CNC now.
It's great, you get to wake up, do what you love, and it's kind of cliche, but that's my best friend, so.
Nick, he does a lot of the welding in the fabs.
It's easier, working with your brother than somebody else. We can depend on each other to get it done right.
I've been into low riding for man since I was 13, 14 years old. It's fun, If anybody ever gets a chance to ride in one, try it. Before you know it, man, Grandma and Grandpa will be riding in one of them cars too.
We got all the parts and pieces back from the powder coat for the 23 Polaris Ranger.
So Wally just brought all the powder coat back. Everything turned out great. So me and Art are going to put our arms in, bushings, ball joints. We get this thing together, get it out to the park.
It's no secret I'm partial to black and gold these days. It's definitely going to bring some attention at the mud park. Paint it all glossy to it. We put a lot of work into transforming this side-by-side into something that nobody's ever seen before. We're going to get it all together, and we're ready to hit that mud park. Man, I'm ready to go, man.
I'm ready to go. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. It's been quite a transformation. I can't wait for you to see it. Last time you seen it was doing the rear steer, right?
Yeah, still all put together. That's the first thing we were doing was tackling that. If I know my dad, this thing is going to be crazy. This thing is going to be sick.
There's definitely not another one like this around anywhere.
I didn't expect anything less.
Check it out. Here it comes.
Dang! Golly! How did I know it was going to be gold?
You already knew.
Good job, Daddy-O.
Keegan's seen a ton of cars in and out of the shop. Nothing really surprises him anymore. He's seen so many custom vehicles. So he was just blown away.
Man.
They don't look like the same one, huh?
Not at all, man.
What you think?
Man, it's awesome.
Very nice.
Good job. From what it looked like a few weeks ago to what it looks like now, it is a world of difference. It is insane.
Getting in the shop, one of the first things we did is cut the roof down. It just looked too tall, out of proportion for what it was.
I get what you mean.
And then Bill had the idea of just putting them sunroofs in there. That was just bonus right there.
You wouldn't know it had 4 inches cut off.
What do you think about those lights?
It turned nighttime into daytime.
This thing has more lights than most trucks around. Of course, it's got the long travel suspension with air on it. Gotta have that adjustability, right?
You have to.
Exactly.
Can't do it any other way.
Big 26x12s, of course. It looks like they've been dipped in solid gold.
It's a theme at this point.
Right.
It's a theme at this point. And the gold wheels, you can see them come from a mile away, and it makes this whole thing just come together.
And of course, we gotta have the black and gold, right? And not just black. We had to take all the body off, smooth out all the texture, and then spray it glossy black.
It looks so much better.
At least we're ready to go to a car show.
Yeah.
Car show? I thought I was going to a mud park. Well, don't be
scared. You gotta look good doing that.
Yeah.
And I can see the subs from back here. I'm sure those are crazy loud too.
Right? My buddy here.
Do a little work on with it. Cramming 412s in that thing was not an easy task. So if you're going to do it, go all out. We got 2,000 watts on the subs, another 1,600 on the doors.
I can't wait to hear it.
One thing we had to do is improve that interior. Smoothing out the dash, recovering the seats, and embroidering the logo in it. been done before. Of course, we had to build that custom camper.
It looks like it came with it.
I mean, that's specifically made to that vehicle.
Dang.
And got a little throwback to the mini truck days, so check this out.
Let's do it.
This is what you come to work for.
Dang.
Just making cool projects.
Oh my gosh, man.
Making them come to life and seeing it all come together at the end. Days like this is what we're here for.
That is crazy. Man, talk about grabbing attention. My dad started hitting those switches and the bed started moving back and forth, up and down, left and right. I mean, this thing's gonna be the center of attention.
We've done some ridiculous things around here, but this tops it.
You know, now it's time to load this side-by-side up on the record, go out to the off-road park and test it out. Man, it's real cool to have an idea in your head and having a bunch of tools laid out and using those tools, using your hands, have people come to help, all come together to make this project complete, real cool. And to be able to show Keegan something like this, that's a good dad day. I can't thank my guys enough. Shorty, man, that's a cool day to see everything come together. Man, I just can't thank everyone.
Full custom.
Yeah. This is for the headlight. You turn your headlights on, these guys come down. Get out of your home!
Back when I was in high school, man, this was sought after. This is a big job for us. This is so compact here. We're going to work with the existing floorboard.
Very good. This thing is going to be a beast, just like the record, man.
The 52 record started last year, and we're just now putting the rolling chassis and the body together.
Gotta go on down.
Are you liking it?
Trying not to cry.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16, and ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need, they come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Brent's backing in a really cool GTO. When I was in high school, that was a car to have.
Hey, Bill.
What's happening, fellas?
Hey, Bill. It's great to meet you. Nick.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you guys,
Great to meet
man.
you too. Yeah.
So is this one of you guys?
It's both of ours.
Both of you?
Yeah.
Like a timeshare or something?
Yeah, it's like a timeshare, actually. Yeah. My brother bought it when he was 15 in 1980. The car's been with us for almost 42 years. So,
what? I was just about to ask you if you guys bought it like this vintage or...
No, it was a piece of junk when we bought it. Yeah.
42 years ago.
42 years ago. Yeah.
You know, back when I was in high school, man, this was sought after for sure. I mean, this was the one you had to have. But those wheels, that size tire.
Yeah, pretty old school now. Yeah. But, you know, we used to race it when we were kids.
Well, he used to work on it. I used to race it.
He used to race it, drive it. I was always afraid of it.
He's worked on it since he was like 12 years old.
How much you get this for back then?
$300.
$300.
$300.
Yeah, you know, both immigrants from Italy, and so the car became something that tied us together, and we've been, I don't know, best friends since then, as well as brothers.
Wow, man, that's quite a story. I've never heard one of those stories before.
It's awesome.
So this might turn into me working on it, and both of you.
We built it to race, and you can't drive it. So we're just looking for something we can get in, push the button, and go, you know, as opposed to kind of where it is right now, where it only runs on race gas and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're not just putting wheels and tires on it.
Totally custom, totally something unique that people look at on the street. Modern, you know, touring cars.
A pro touring GTO.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I love that idea, just taking this cool car and just modernizing it. You want something that really rides good, handles good, can put the power down to the ground, just rip out that old frame, just unbolt it from the body, roll it out, and just start fresh. Build a new, way more rigid chassis, 4-link on the back, you know, coilovers all the way around. We can adjust that stance where it just looks absolutely perfect.
Yeah, that pro touring stance has definitely got to be there.
Yeah. Any preference on color or anything like that?
The original color for this car was red, so we're thinking of the red and black.
Sort of the modern versions of the stock colors from back in the day, if that makes sense.
What about interior?
Something fully custom, totally wild.
Cool, man. Let's check it out. Man, it's definitely got the vintage feel and smell.
That's him, not me.
I tell you what, your brother's done a real good job of storing it for you, because this looks absolutely perfect in here. But it's definitely, we'll modernize this, give you that Pro Touring feel when you sit in it. Of course, changing, door panels, seats, carpet, and the instrumentation is something that'll really wake this car up. That way you're behind the wheel and it just looks modern in here.
I love that. Only request I have is we were thinking about 4 bucket seats. Not sure how you think about that. Or
no, man, that's a great idea.
Okay.
Maybe even give you a little bit more. I mean, you guys look like you might need a little more room inside here too. Right? It's tight.
It's been 42 years, so yeah, we need a little bit more room.
And you guys were saying that you run race gas in it now. What's under the hood?
It's a 600-inch Pontiac, but we're open to anything.
Well, let's check it out. Damn it. Oh man, definitely an original under the hood.
No.
So about how much horsepower?
About 7 without the nitrous, close to 9.
So it is a fun drive.
Yeah, it is fun. Quarter mile though, fun to drive.
Yeah.
After that,
you can't even drive it on the freeway, Bill. You're doing 55, and the car sounds like it's doing,
about
$5 grand. Yeah, $6 grand.
So you want that practicality. You want to be able to get in it and drive it wherever you want.
And get gas wherever we can, pump gas.
But you still want a ton of power.
Can never have too much power.
What would be real cool, I mean, if we're taking this engine out, we're replacing it with a nice new clean engine. It just, man, when you pop the hood, you're like, just wow, that's just super clean, simplified.
That sounds great. I mean, that's what we've always dreamed about, having something like that.
Well, if you guys are ready to make it happen,
let's go. Yeah, thank you so much.
Come on with it.
All right.
Definitely a cool car.
Thank you.
The GTO has a long muscle car history, but this car also has a long history with Nick and Sebastian. Messing with a car like this is kind of delicate. This isn't just an easy project, get in, tear it apart, change it up, and give it back to them kind of deal. This is sentimental. This is a big job for us. It's a big job for any car shop. Transforming what's already a really cool, clean car into something that not only fits the family history, but fits the muscle car history. There's a lot of unique challenges all throughout this. On top of all that, it's part of their family. So we're not going to take that lightly. But no matter how long that history is, sometimes you just got to start over.
This is cool.
Very cool, huh?
Yeah.
Nice outfit today. Looking good, fellas.
He's always paying attention to me, I guess.
Yeah. He texted me and asked me what I was doing.
FaceTime.
That's what it was.
Their 2 brothers own this car jointly. They bought this car back when one of them was 14 years old.
Oh, wow.
The guys are getting older now, and they're tired of working on it. They've been working on it their whole lives, right? They want us to work on it now and build them something where they can just get in it, go wherever they want to go. So we're going to turn this into something really cool, super low to the ground, modern everything. We're going to build a new chassis, all new suspension, brand new LT4 in it, so it's going to have a ton of horsepower, 10-speed transmission, so it can drive wherever they want to go. I mean, the interior looks almost perfect.
It looks great.
Yeah. Right. They spend a lot of time, fixing every little single piece in there just for us to tear it all out. And all new interior, all new paint, all new everything, 100% all custom.
All right.
It's definitely going to be one of a kind.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a cool one, man. There's a lot to do on this guy.
For a 50-year-old car, the body's in pretty good shape, but everything else got to go.
Just going through and getting everything that's going from the body to the chassis right now. Getting everything out of the way, making sure that we're free. That way, once we get these body bolts loose, we can drop it down, take what we got to take down up there, and then this body will just separate, come right off the chassis, and then we'll be able to roll it out. It'll come. There you go. This is for the headlight little deal right here.
Oh, really?
You turn your headlights on.
Nope.
These guys come down. Neat, cool stuff, man. Oh yeah, a bunch of juice in the juice box.
That's the lightest tire?
It's kind of funny. I've never seen anything like that before. It took the cut-off bolts right there and then used them as like a little anchor to where they could zip tie to and hold their wire loop nice and straight over the fender. Pretty creative. I like that.
Come on.
Get out of your home. That's not the correct way to do it. Rat's nest. I wonder how fast that rat went.
Pretty fast.
Bump it. Bump it. Hey, you're all clear. Take it all away. Oh my god. Dude, this thing sucks. This thing sucks.
Oh, it's slippery.
You know, it's always a challenge to take an iconic vehicle like the 68 GTO and improve upon it. For me, the best way to do that is that custom chassis, because we can just build that exact right chassis for the car and the customer.
So we're gonna start with our 2 frame rails, and then we'll stick them up there and we'll see exactly where our body mounts are falling. Then we can start building the whole chassis as a whole. We're gonna do this chassis just a little bit different. I'm using DOM to connect my body mounts. It's going to be a little bit cooler of a look on this car. And it'll be built directly to the car instead of doing it on the table like we normally do. We made some marks, so I know exactly where the center of my very first body mount is going to be. So I can transfer that on both rails right here, and I can use that point to measure off of everything else I need to build. Yeah, dude. I like that. Alright, cool. So now you can see what we've accomplished here by adding the DOM with the through bolt. So I get a 3/4 bolt, put that in there, and once I get that established, I can make my mark for the other 4 body mounts that we have to do. Get it all connected and keep moving with our chassis.
Ryan's off to a good start on the 68 GTO chassis, but the frame rails aren't lining up with the original body mounts, so he's going to change things up to make it work. That's the advantage of doing it custom. We're going to change things up till it's exactly right.
Alright, so we got the rail in there, got the DOM in place, everything's tacked in. When we put our rail up underneath the channel where it needs to go, all of the original body mount holes are off. They're not in a straight line, so using DOM on every single one of them isn't going to work. We're just gonna take a flat bar, put a bend at 1.5 inches, put a hole at 2 3/4, and I can put that bend right there. It will flow the channel underneath the car. So now that we have our bracket here, I can take some chipboard and make me a little side gusset here. I'll make 4 of them. I think it'll flow good with everything else we got. So transfer into some metal, pop out 4 of these guys, get them cleaned up, and then get them tacked onto the car. We'll just tack them right here. We'll corner it. This gusset will be stronger, make this where this cannot collapse. Bar. Stop. Inch it down.
When I look back to where we started over 25 years ago, we're mostly doing custom suspensions. But we grew and grew to where now it takes over a year to do ground-up builds. There's so many steps to doing the really, really big ones. And there's definitely been a learning curve.
Yeah, my tabs are on the side of brand.
The 52 record started last year. And we're just now putting the rolling chassis and the body together.
Go down. Gotta go on down.
I look at it this way. We're in the business of making customers' dreams happen.
Slow. You gotta go back. That's this guy right there. Thank y'all. You can barely fit a piece of paper in this firewall.
The more time and effort and skill we put into all of them, the more excited I get to get them done and get them back out on the road.
It's
about time we catch you working.
I'm always working here.
Man, we all set up for the tow show.
You know, I just spoke with Ryan, and he's got a great prime location for this thing. It's all set up, ready to go.
Man, that's perfect, man. I can't wait for Terry to see it. You know, giving Terry back that 52 tow truck at the tow show, that's the perfect place to reveal this, right?
And when Terry sees his truck there, amongst all these other ones, he's just going to be blown away.
Everybody else is, too.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, just think back when it came in.
Man, it was horrible, right?
I didn't know if I needed to start ordering parts or tetanus shots for you guys when that thing first came in. I didn't know what part to get.
I mean, starting off, picking the cab up, rolling everything else out, and just building everything else. From that 2x5 frame, how it goes up to the 2x4 with the truss underneath, that was super, super strong. It can haul whatever it wants to haul.
And then some.
Right?
Yeah.
He wanted a whole lot of power. The LT4 in it, supercharged 6.2, man.
He definitely got the power.
He labor went into building that bed.
When you first brought this up and said we're going to build it all from scratch, I didn't believe how it was going to be done. But then when I started seeing you guys lay everything out, man, I don't know how the lines just matched up, but
yeah,
that's what
just
you do.
Getting towards the end of projects like this, man, really get me excited, man.
Figuring out the size, the shape, the dimensions of that bed. Once that's established, actually building it, you know, using the skills to shape the metal, to weld, to grind, to polish, to make it what it is a ton of work.
When you told me you were going to come out and make that boom yourself, I didn't say against you, but I came and looked for stuff that maybe we could, you know, maybe order, but there's nothing out there to order for that.
Just got to do it.
Don't be scared.
Going from chipboard to plasma table to a part you actually welding together, grinding, sanding, turning it into a hot rod wrecker, man. I love how it's come together. Then once all that's made, off to the body shop.
There's a lot of panels on there to get straight.
I mean, the paint's done, looking right. You know, the major thing we have left is just letting John Burgess do his thing.
Yeah, he was just in here and we went through and picked all the materials out and the color scheme and stuff that he's going to put in that thing's going to really tie everything together. It's going to show your guys' craftsmanship with his, and it's going to really set that truck apart.
After that, tow show.
Road trip.
You got work to do.
You know, a lot of the times, the last thing we do on a ground-up build is that interior. But last is definitely not least. Everything else is just so custom, so over the top. John definitely has his work cut out for him.
So it's finally my turn to get started, making something cool in the interior. So I'm going to start out with the seats. I've already got my design laid out. I'm going to make a patch that'll actually overlay on top of this. We'll get it all sewn straight down to the cover and get after it and make something happen. So now that I've got my patterns all worked out, just take some clear vinyl and I can see through that and draw out all my pieces and then back to transfer into our leather. It takes time to make sure you get everything laid out and straight, because if you mess it up here, it's messed up all the way to the end. It's probably one of the more tedious processes, but it's one of the more satisfying for me too. A few more pieces to do, so same process over and over and over until I get all the pieces mapped out. Next step, start transferring this onto some leather, get it cut out, and start sewing this puzzle together. Something's going to complement the blue on that truck really nice, keep it looking kind of retro but still modernized. Sew foam gives a little bit more cushion to the cover, and it helps the cover to kind of fill out and fluff out a little more. So without this, it just kind of it'll lay loose on the seat. So this gives us something to sew together, hold it all together. And next step, get on the laser, cut out our pieces for our patches. I'm actually going to wrap this part 3 times. So I want it to look like different layers. So we'll wrap it down to this first level, and then we'll wrap the top level. All 3 of them separately. Something a little different, a little challenging. Just thinking about trying to do things outside of the box and always trying to think outside of the box and come up with new ideas. Is you got to try them to see if they're going to work. Think about it all you want, but until you actually try it, no telling. But if it doesn't work, I'll throw it in the trash and we'll do something else. One upside to it being so hot around here is it doesn't take as long for the glue to dry. Downside, not as nice of a brake. Inserts are all finished up, so now it's just helping to lay the seams down, make sure everything's where they need to be. It's kind of like ironing your clothes, you know. You hit a little bit of steam, go through, iron out everything, get it laid in nice and smooth and flat where it needs to go. Next thing I'm gonna do, about 135 degrees out there right now, so let Mother Nature do her job for a little while.
Because we're building a frame for the GTO totally custom, we can work with the shape of the vehicle to make it a perfect fit. This is so compact underneath here. We're going to work with the existing floorboard in this car versus cutting everything out for big wheels, big tires. The easy way for me is just using a 3-inch piece of flat bar. What I'm going to do is tack this to the floor. Once we have this flat bar tacked in place, we can just clamp flat bar off of it. So we're going to take this pattern that we have now, transfer it over onto the table. Once that's transferred on the table, I'm going to trace it, lay out the lines on nice, clean, and crisp, make a chipboard over to our 2x3 that's on our bandsaw. That's it. Boom, 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 boom. Chop our parts, lay them out on the table. Everything's real time, and you know it's going to fit perfectly. This is the most efficient, time-saving way that I've found over the years to make a frame.
All right, so I got my back half jigged up here on this table. We're gonna tack this up, put some stitches just on the top and bottom here. We'll get this all welded up real quick, let it cool off, and then we'll break it apart, stand it up, build our back half, and then we can throw it into the car. One step closer. Alright, so I got it all stood up and squared up. This is what our back half will look like, minus some cross members. I'm gonna make some just temporary 1x1 pieces to connect these. And then we'll make our back section back here that connects the two. Very, very good. Alright, so we got the rear member made. Everything's level, everything looks good. We'll get it put over there and we'll see what changes we need to make, if any. And if not, then we'll keep on moving along. Yay. Alright, so Bill and I got the back half stabbed in here. It fits good. I'm gonna make a few pieces just to connect the existing frame rails to our back half, and then we can move on to the body mounts.
Getting started on the subwoofer enclosure for the 52 record. The owner is kind of a tall guy, so we don't want to lose any leg room in here. So the challenge that we're going to have is finding enough airspace for this enclosure without encroaching on the cabin space. So we're going to do some modular work here and try to build a box that'll fit down inside of the pockets in the back. That means the box can be smaller. I don't have to make as much room for the magnet. The magnet can just be out there doing its own thing. The best part about building things like this is there's no rules, no right or wrong. Come up with an idea, build it the way you want it. It's really nice having that freedom around here. It gives me the opportunity to be more creative. I really enjoy what I'm doing because I get to do what I want to do. Put all this together, make it all one solid piece so we can take it out of the truck, take it back over to the trim shop, and finish building it. So far, everything's worked out really nice. You know, it fits in the truck perfect. It's going to be nice, fits behind the seat. Be able to have the subwoofer, won't lose any kind of movement in the seat, so tried to work out really good. Alright, fiberglass is dry. We got the box out of the truck. We can work on the bench now. So next thing, take a piece of plastic, feed it up, mold it to shape it to the top. The woofer needs a certain volume of airspace in order to operate properly, so it really doesn't matter how it gets it as long as it gets it. So nice, tight squeeze in there. Takes up almost no space in the truck, but yet we still have enough airspace for the woofer to function properly. The majority majority of all the body work is hand sanding, mainly because everything has contours and shapes and nothing really flat and straight to it. Every now and then you use blocks, but you really can't use a machine. You start using machines and it digs in, you don't get a feel for it, don't know where you're headed. I like to hand sand a whole lot. I'll go in and do some grinding, rough things in, but in the end, it's all hand sanding. There it goes. Like a glove. So that's a perfect fit. Everything's working out exactly. Look from the armrest, forward, into the center console.
You hungry, fool?
The rear half of the frame for the 68 GTO is connected to the body. So now we can move on to making the front half.
All right, so we got everything in the back done, and it's a good time to move on to the front, tie all this in together, and we'll have one full complete chassis before we start suspension. So I'm gonna grab some 2x5, I got my stands here, put that 2x5 down here. I can put my cross member directly on that. I'm gonna draw a string line down the center of the car right here, and that way I know exactly where to put my front cross member. That way when we build our control arms out, that the track and everything is straight. Getting this centered right here is very crucial to building this chassis out. For the cross members that we make, it's already set up with the right points for our lower control arms. We'll take this, draw some center marks up on it. Alright, now I got my temporary braces in here holding the front cross member exactly where I need it. Come out here and then we'll be able to tie in our upper frame rail with the lower here. And then we can add some pipe or do something else, tie it all in later. Alright, we got the cross member tied in to our rails, as you can see. Looks really good, but we're not done yet. We need to continue this on. We need to tie into our core support right here, and then we'll have bumper to bumper full chassis. I'm gonna mount this roll pan here, cut these frame horns off here, and we're gonna cap this. And this is where my frame structure will tie in to the core support. I think that'll do. Now that we got all this established, everything's good. Chassis is complete now, minus suspension.
You know, if you want something fast, you just buy it off the shelf. But if you want something custom, it just takes more time and, of course, talent. And right now, John's showing us how it's done. Hand making a one-of-one console for the 52 tow truck.
I'm going to take the armrest, float it over the part that's going to go around the shifter. So I'm actually going to make this in multiple pieces. Just got to keep in mind all the pieces as you're going because they all have to work together. Everything for the first half of the center console put together, glued up, worked up, ready to go. Got it scuffed. Let's take a little bit of body filler, do a little rubbing, a little sanding, and make this thing look good. So I'm going to use a little bit of this fiberglass reinforced filler just to give it some strength, and then we'll go back over top of it with some regular body filler. It's easier to sand and easier to work. But to start off with, I'm going to use this. It's another one of those quit while you're ahead moments. Wipe this on a little thin, just so I didn't have to fight it too much. Makes it easier to sand. So all I'm doing now is just knocking the hide. Pieces of the armrest is do a little bit of mold work on top just to give it some detail and liven it up a little bit. So we're going to install the air ride controller and a wireless charger for your phone or any other device incorporated into this. So So sand, and then sand. So let's get sanding. Now I'm gonna trace my template. After getting the top part of the armrest body worked in, the next step to finish this off is to tie in a side panel. We're going to use the side panels as inserts. That way when we wrap it, we only have to come down to here instead of having to wrap the whole side of it, so we can chase wrinkles out rather easy instead of trying to get all the way to the end of this panel. So I'm going to take me some double-sided stick tape here so that when I body work this in for the material, it's already built in.
Of the 68 GTO might have wanted to swap out that high horsepower for something a little more drivable, but they definitely still want some power. So we went with a Crate LT4 engine with about 640 reliable horsepower. Now to make it fit.
Before we can get it put in, we got to cut the floor out to make room for the transmission. And then get our motor put in. Keep coming.
It's on the chassis now.
You're clear.
This thing is going to be a beast, just like the Wrecker, man. 650 horsepower, V8, supercharged.
Yeah.
But like 4,000 pounds lighter.
Right.
And that thing scoots, so.
It's going to be a monster, that's for sure.
You ready to start building some motor mounts and transmission cross member and all that good stuff?
Yeah, let's do some cool stuff.
We'll start rolling some pipe and add some style to it. The roll pipe always looks real cool. And just catch this whole corner of this web right here. It'll be super strong, it'll look good, and then we can connect down to the cross member. Got the driver's side motor mounts done, so we're gonna jump back to the transmission cross member, start getting that all done. Here's the factory bolt holes for the transmission cross member mount. We'll start off with this point here, and then find a good connecting point. But this being so far out, so wide, that crossover would sag real bad. So we added this structure here. We'll just connect here and here to our cross member. That way the span isn't so long. Keep it a little bit shorter, stronger.
You know, the best part of this job is getting to work on cars that you loved when you were a kid. You know, that 68 GTO is one for me. It's just super cool to be able to put my spin on it. We finished the chassis, and once we're done with the engine mount, we'll need to modify the firewall, build custom suspension, fabricate something really unique, cool under the hood, you know, body, paint, wheels, tires, and hand making that interior. We still got a long road, but this is definitely going to be one for the books.
All right, we got our cross member tacked up. It's looking pretty cool. Got some holes for exhaust to run through since the car is going to be so low. Not only will it be a lot stronger,
luckily we don't have to wait much longer on that 52 tow truck. Over in the interior department, John's taking a couple of his cool interior cues and bringing them up into the engine compartment with some custom trim pieces.
Some pieces of aluminum that got powder coated and painted to match the truck. We'll just take our laser. Basically what we're doing is going to be etching off all of the powder coating and paint to reveal the aluminum down the bottom again. Get it secured inside of the machine, close it up and hit go. And off to the races. The finish on the part is so thick that it's going to take multiple passes to actually get it all cleaned off and get down to the metal. So 2 passes, we'll see what it looks like. It should be cleared off. If not, we'll just hit it and make it go again. 157 gigawatts, however hot that is. It's like a buttload. All I know is it's hot enough that I won't put my hand underneath it. Bill wants to try to get a tattoo by it. Get free tattoos after work. I've only had a laser cutter now for maybe about a year, year and a half. But in that year and a half, it's really changed the game. Design and build Plus, it saved me a lot of money and a lot of time, and I've been able to do things that there's no way I would have been able to do them by hand. There's no other way about it. It's just been a lifesaver. And complete. Finally ready to start wrapping the parts for the tow truck. I'm gonna start with the box. So we'll be making patterns. I gotta put foam over it and have a nice decorative seam. It's one of my favorite parts of the process, but this was going to be pretty difficult. We've got some pretty big contours, steep edges, just a lot of things that this vinyl is going to have to do in order to lay in where it needs to. So it's got to be unique, it's got to be one-off. So that's part of what makes this thing fun, makes it a challenge, and at the same time, makes it a pain in the butt. You know, part of the reason we got this complex shape is because of the requirements we had for the driver being able to fit in the truck. We couldn't really cram it all behind the seat, so wasn't a whole lot we could do. We just have to for the customer, so they needed the room, we'll give them the room. This would be the hardest part. So you gotta kind of work here and hope I can stretch here to a point I can split it and then tuck it. You know, after all the years of wrapping and doing things like this is probably a 10 on the scale of how hard this is going to be. That's what really makes it fun around here too, is always trying to challenge ourselves, do a little better, make something different, always one off. So all of the challenges that we go through, and at the end of the day, all said and done, they're all worth it. All right, everything's built, everything's wrapped, everything's ready to go.
Here at the shop, we do a bunch of builds. But getting into the bigger builds is always something that you really got to step back and take a minute. You know, those jobs that take a year and over a year, there's thousands of hours in those. When you get that invested in something, it just becomes special. It's almost like it's your build. And it's not just one person. We can have, you know, 5 or 6 guys work on one vehicle. So we all kind of have to have the same understanding, because he's got to be on the same page as the painters and with Bill. And I mean, you can't have like a Lincoln in the front and a Honda in the back. It's got to match.
Your craftsmanship when you're welding and stuff, I take that same pride of I was able to find these parts so that you guys can make this whole project come together. And at the end of the day, when the customer comes to see his vehicle, they can see where every day, every hour, every minute went into that vehicle. Yeah. That first reaction is like, oh my gosh.
Oh, listen to that. Oh, look at that.
That's when you know you did a great job on that vehicle. Yeah.
Looked at the 52, it was definitely showing its age. This is original as it gets, right?
Yes, sir.
When I look at it now, I just couldn't be more proud of my guys. There's not an inch on this truck we didn't have to do something to, and there's definitely not going to be one anywhere like it. Terry's dream truck. You know what better place to give it back to him than the Fort Worth Tow Show? It's kind of like the SEMA show is for cars, this tow show is for wreckers. Terry,
what's happening, Bill?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good. I appreciate you meeting me out here in Fort Worth, man.
It's kind of funny when you invited me to the show I'm at each year for my business anyway, so I hope you got a surprise for me.
Man, I actually do. I know it's been quite a while since you've seen your truck. You ready to check it out?
Yes, sir.
Come on.
Oh my God, Bill. It's beautiful.
Are you liking it?
Trying not to cry. I can't believe what I dropped off is actually this truck sitting here right now.
Right?
It's hard for me to fathom.
It's got a little transformation, right?
Yeah, just a little. But that's exactly what we were shooting for.
You know, Terry, when the truck rolled in, there wasn't much salvageable on it. So basically just picked the cab up off the frame and just rolled everything else out. Underneath the truck, we started out building a whole new frame front to back, and it's all made out of 2x5 rectangle tubing, then tapers down to 2x4 in the back. You know, when we were building the frame, we had to incorporate that air suspension in it so you could raise and lower it. I know you're probably not going to haul a car with this, but it is absolutely capable. If it ever did have weight on the back, you have that adjustability in it also. So
no store-bought stuff. It's all fabricated. I'm loving the stance. You know, I wanted it low, wanted some big fat tires on it, and you nailed it. I'm ready to do some burnouts.
So I know you wanted that hot rod power also, right? You ready to check out under the hood of it?
Buddy, I don't know if I can take much more, but let's do it.
Let's check it out.
Oh my God, Bill. I asked you for a big engine, 6-liter plus. You took it and you shoved it in this thing, made it fit. It looks amazing in there. Not a whole lot of room to move around, so it was definitely a lot of work for you guys.
We had to do a little bit of configuring to get this sucker in there.
I can only imagine all the hand bent tubing and everything underneath it matches, everything just sets off something else underneath the hood. You can keep looking all day long.
Right? New firewall, all configured around that engine and that 10-speed transmission. So we had to do a lot of sheet metal work in the floorboard.
Yes, sir.
And make room for this big old engine underneath here, right?
Way over my expectations, that's for sure.
Man, I always like hearing that.
Y'all killed it.
Man, Terry, I can tell you got an eye for custom work.
Yes, sir.
Let me show you what we did inside the cab.
All right. Oh my God, Bill. That is beautiful. You guys did a great job keeping the old school feel, but putting the modern technologies in it.
There's a lot of upgrades in there, right? New carpet, new seats, new headliner, door panels. John Burgess gets down there. That's a work of art. Of course, the radio looks old, but it's all
technology. You kept some of the original dash in there to keep the old school look, so best of both worlds.
Yeah, man. I know if you like that. I got something that's special in the back.
You're killing it so far, buddy. Let's check this out. Definitely not what was on it when I dropped it off.
Man, absolutely not. All this is 100% handmade. And, you know, the challenge on something like this, Terry, is really getting back and seeing what design is going to work for this. And to make it look like it all flows in one cohesive unit, right? I've never built a record bed before. We've never built a record boom before, or, you know, a pylon like that.
It's sharp.
It looks like it should come that way. And that's the whole point of building something like this.
It's one of a kind. It's one of one, and it's mine. And I'm proud for it to be mine, and I'm proud that Bill and them took this job on, and I just can't say enough about the work these guys did on my truck.
It's a labor of love, man. And get to be able to create something like this out of nothing just is really, really cool. You know, I can't thank my guys enough for stepping up, doing what they do, having the passion that they have, and just having the skill set to do another great job.
When I dropped this off, I told you I wanted a show truck, tow truck, and this checks off every box.
What better place?
Show truck sitting at the tow show.
It definitely stands out.
That's what we want. It's going to stand out everywhere it goes.
Well, man, I know you're going to have fun with it. I'm going to go check out the rest of the